And this is Bombers Game Mic. I'm Paul DiCostanzo. This is New York Yankees baseball, and happy Cam Schlittler Day. Yes, that's right. The Yankees are hosting the largely without a proper home Athletics, who are currently calling a minor league ballpark in Sacramento their home until they build their Australian Opera House on the Strip in Las Vegas. And today we have Cam Schlittler against Aaron Civale. And yes, happy Cam Schlittler Day. I could not be happier about this. This is always a pleasurable game to call. And right now, I've been saying this all along, and I'll say it again, right? Take this in. These first two starts of the season for Cam Schlittler have been, nothing short of absolutely amazing. And this is going to go on for a little bit longer, right? Because he hasn't gone through the league fully yet. And if you look at the numbers against the lineup that the A's are throwing out there tonight, none of them have any at-bats against Cam Schlittler. And so something to bear in mind here is that this is going to continue for a while longer, but that first time through the league is going to come through, and then we're going to begin seeing the adjustments. The league's going to adjust to him. He's going to adjust to the league. Obviously, the A's have plenty of game film on him. There's no issue with preparation there. But the truth of the matter is that eventually somebody's going to catch up. Now, that doesn't mean he isn't going to still be awesome. But right now, just this unchallenged run of domination it's not going to last forever. It can't. So enjoy it now before he gets his nose bloodied a couple of times, and then he has to up his game. Everybody starts moving their chess pieces around. And for the A's tonight, Aaron Civale basically just throws the kitchen sink at you. He's another one of those pitchers, much like Max Meyer the other night, who doesn't work off a fastball, right? He works off breaking pitches, and then everything else complements it from there. So he's definitely a little bit more of one of those new age pitchers in that way. 30 years old, pretty much like the exact definition of average major leaguer if you look at his career. He's 30 years old, right? And you kind of get the idea. So the Yankees have plenty of numbers against him, a lot of different at-bats, quite a few Yankees in the lineup here tonight who have actually pretty outstanding numbers against Cam Schlittler. But speaking of lineups here, let's start with the visiting Sacramento, Las Vegas, California, somewhere West Coast A's. They have Kurtz at first, Shea Langeliers catching at batting second, Sundstrom batting third. In left, batting cleanup is Rooker, the DH. Wilson at shortstop, batting fifth. Butler out in right, batting sixth. Max Muncy at third base, batting seventh. McNeil batting eighth at second base tonight. And then Clark in center, batting ninth. Now, for the Yankees, this lineup is going to sound pretty damn familiar to you. Trent Grisham leading off in center field. Aaron Judge in right, batting second. Cody Bellinger batting third out and left. Ben Rice, the first baseman, batting fourth. Giancarlo Stanton, the professional DH, batting fifth. Jazz Chisholm Jr. at second, batting sixth. Ahmed Rosario in tonight for McMahon. He is batting seventh. My boy, Austin Wells, batting eighth and catching. And in the 9-hole, the shortstop, Jose Caballero. So the other night, what ended up being the other night in the Yankee game there, in terms of that loss, was frustrating, right? And I think we all knew that the bullpen was, like for many teams, kind of the soft underbelly. But you know what? The fact of the matter is this, right? When you get right down to it, the fact of the matter is this, is that for every single team always, almost always, it is a matter of an evolving situation with their bullpen over 162. There are some times in the year it looks really good. There are some times in the year it looks terrible. And the later in the year that is the case, the bigger a problem that's obviously becoming. And if it's been a problem for long enough, you're probably not even that worried about late in the year. But that's the point. The Yankees, the bullpen is going to be an evolving situation, right? Doval on Saturday night looked awful. You know, based on the very lackadaisical play, which should have been the first out in the top of the ninth inning in Saturday, David Bednar had to throw way more pitches than he realistically should have. And then yesterday, the bullpen obviously coughed it up after what was really an outstanding start on the part of one Max Fried. But, hey, let's put it behind us now. That was 2 days ago. We're back in the Bronx for a Tuesday night matchup. It's Cam Schlittler Day. I don't know about you, but I am really looking forward to this. Anytime you can call one of his games is a fantastic experience. Certainly for me. I think you will end up enjoying it as well. Lord knows I do. Goodness. And the Yankees are taking the field, and Cam Schlittler is now picked up the ball on the bump and is beginning to warm up for your hometown pinstripers. If indeed you're a Yankee fan and joining me, which kind of makes sense because this is Bombers Game Mike, I'm Paul DiCostanzo. And yeah, Yes has the lineups up for the A's. Kurtz leading off, Langeliers batting second, Soderstrom batting third, Rooker batting fourth, Wilson batting fifth, Butler batting fifth, Muncy batting seventh, McNeil batting eighth, Clark batting ninth. And they all have decent OPS so far. Shea Langeliers has done particularly well so far. 5 home runs so far this season for Shea Langeliers. And of course, Cam Schlittler, 2 starts, he's 2-0. Cerro ERA in 11 2/3 inning, no home runs, no walks, 15 strikeouts, and an opposing average of 0.79. Now, we know he has the 4-seam fastball. He has a couple of cutters he can work with. He has a show-me breaking ball to lefties and a developing changeup over time. So, we'll see what he has in the tank tonight, but he is coming off of full rest here. Everybody is excited to see him pitch. I know I am. I'm a big starting pitching guy. Always will be. And yeah, Bellinger in left, Grisham center, Judge in right, Rosario at third, Caballero at short, Chisholm at second, Rice at first, Stanton at DH, my boy Austin Wells behind the dish, and of course, Cam Schlittler is on the mound. Bruce Dreckman showing himself to be rather hitter-friendly according to the Yes graphic here. And only 3 out of 7 overturned by ABS so far for him. And right now, I am kind of curious how the Yankees are going to approach this ABS thing, because this past 3 against Miami was not a great showing. They lost their challenges early. I know Aaron Boone wants to make sure his players feel comfortable, tapping the helmet or the cap should they feel it's necessary. But you got to feel like they're going to dial in. Well, here is Nick Kurtz stepping in, the big left-hander. Looking in is Cam Schlittler for the first sign of the game. And Schlittler looks in, and he slowly winds and deals. Fastball high, up and in to Kurtz, and we are underway. The count is 1-0. Kurtz batting a muscular 148 this season. Looking in is Schlittler. And here's the 1-0 pitch. Cutter inside for a ball to the big lefty. The count is 2-0. And one of the amazing things you notice here about Cam Schlittler's windup, it's almost like he barely moves. I mean, they talk about easy gas. My goodness, here's the 2-0 pitch. 4-seamer down and in to the lefty Kurtz, and the count is now 3-0. So he has not thrown a strike so far tonight in his first 3 pitches, but of course it is early. Shea Langeliers is sitting on deck. Now, the 3-0 pitch. Strike fastball out over the plate. And the count is 3-1. Kurtz taking all the way for the A's, the future Vegas A's. Here is the sign. Schlittler winds and deals the pitch. Foul down the third base side and out of play. And the count is now full 3-2. So, Cam Schlittler has battled back in this at-bat. If he is true to form, as he has been so far in this early campaign, he just attacks. He trusts his stuff immensely. Now, the 3-2 pitch. Did he go? Strike 3, says the home plate umpire. He went around, and that is the first out of the inning. So, an early strikeout on the part of Cam Schlittler to Kurtz, and that is the first out of the inning. So, right back on track is Cam Schlittler. And here's Shea Langeliers, the catcher, batting .306 this year, 5 home runs, 8 RBIs, a .1081 OPS in the young campaign. Schlittler has the side, and the easy deals. Swinging strike right on over the four-seam fastball, clocked by Yes at 97 miles an hour. And the count is 0-1 to Langeliers. Cam Schlittler does not look like a comfortable at-bat if you're the opposition. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swinging strike right on over the cutter, clocked by Yes at 95 miles per hour. And the count is now 0-2. 0-2 on the part of our boy Cam Schlittler here. So far, he is getting out ahead here on Langeliers. Let's see where he goes with this 0-2 pitch. He has the sign. He begins the wind. The 0-2. Strike 3 down looking. A sinker. 99 miles per hour on the part of Cam Schlittler. And that is the second out of the inning. So 2 quick strikeouts. And that thing was actually just kind of right down the middle, oddly enough. And Langeliers just didn't even consider taking the bat off his shoulders. So 2 quick outs here, both via strikeout for Cam Schlittler. Now here comes Soderstrom, the third hitter, who's hitting .212 this season. The big left-hander in the box. Here's the pitch. Strike, sinker, outside corner to the big lefty. And the count is 0-1. 98 miles per hour was that sinker. Soderstrom, .212, no home runs, 6 RBIs in the early campaign for the Athletics. Now, the 0-1 pitch, he deals. Strike cutter inside corner, and the count is now 0-2. And once again, Cam Schlittler, attack. We've seen it. We've seen it many times. And the Yankee Stadium faithful is clapping their hands. The 0-2, outside, four-seam fastball, 97 miles per hour. The count is 1-2. So you have the lefty up the plate. Cam Schlittler, we all know he's all about that cutter. That's the thing that has really dialed up his career, to say the least. Here's the pitch. Down and in, a curveball out of the zone, and in the dirt, in fact. And the count is 2-2 to Soderstrom. So, right now, he has been attacking the zone. He's been doing the Cam Schlittler thing so far. Let's put it that way. Now, he winds the 2-2 pitch. Fly ball to center field. Underneath it is Grisham, a few steps over to his left. He's camped under it. And that is the third and final out of the inning. So, 1, 2, 3, go the Athletics. And after half an inning, no score, the Yankees are coming to bat here on Bombers Game Mic. Very quick work there on the part of Cam Schlittler. Really, actually an incredibly fine job, to be sure. Very impressive stuff. Like 100%. So, yeah. What more can you ask for going here at this point, right? Having all sorts of fun on this. This is Cam Schlittler Day. And so far, the first three batters in the A's lineup are looking like most of the rest of the league here so far in the early campaign and dating to late last season. Really incredible stuff. Now, as far as Aaron Civale is concerned, like I was saying to you earlier, he throws everything in the kitchen sink, right? That's nothing new there. But the Yankees actually, across the board, actually have really good numbers against Civale. And, of course, at the moment, Ben Rice is absolutely cranking. I mean, OPS of 1380. I mean, those are softball numbers, folks. Those are softball numbers. Yep, Aaron Civale last year went 4-9 in 102 innings, 16 home runs allowed, 33 walks, 88 strikeouts, a 245 opponent batting average. And yes, he has found a home, which is kind of ironic because the A's are almost effectively without a home at the moment. So take what you can get. Well, the Yankees are heading to the dish, and Trent Grisham steps into the box. Civale looks in. The right-hander winds and deals. Ball outside corner. Fastball. Count is 1-0. In fact, that is technically a sinker, clocked at 90 miles per hour. Civale does not have much by way of gas. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Grounded to the right side, fielded by the first baseman, takes it himself to the bag, and that is the first out of the inning. So, a couple of quick pitches there to Trent Grisham, and that's the first out here in the Yankees' bottom of the first. And Denzel Clark, 14 outfield assists since 2025, which puts him something like top 5 across baseball, apparently. Here's the first pitch to Aaron Judge. Curveball up and in out of the zone to the big right-hander. The count is 1-0. Judge so far through 9 games, 250, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, and 853 OPS is number 99. The Yankees captain. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Strike, sinker, outside corner to the big righty. Count is 1-1 according to the home plate umpire. 1 out here, bottom of the first inning, no score at Yankee Stadium. Aaron Civale looks in, and the righty rinds and deals. Curveball well out of the zone and away. The count is now 2-1 to Aaron Judge. In the last 43 games, including the postseason, he's batting .318 with 18 home runs and 49 RBIs. All this dude does is rake at 33 years old. What were you doing at 33? Here's the pitch. Hit straight on back and out of play. Just missed it, did Aaron Judge. And the count is now 2-2. Cody Bellinger, the big lefty, is on deck. And Civale looks in for the side. The big righty winds and deals. Swinging strike 3. Down goes swinging does Aaron Judge. And that is the second out of the inning here in the bottom of the first. So, not Aaron Judge's best at-bat. Credit to Civale where due. He got him down hacking. And here comes Cody Bellinger, the left fielder tonight, and the Yankees 3-hitter. And it's kind of nice, actually, seeing Aaron Boone settle into this pretty consistent lineup here so far. Oh, we got an earpiece here. What's going on, Blue? Communication nowadays between the umpires and... Okay. Oh, I think they're contending that it was catcher interference, and it definitely was. The catcher definitely caught Aaron Judge's bat on that, which, in all fairness, looking back on the replay, should mean that Aaron Judge is on first base. Let's see what happens here. Because from every single angle, there's no question, yeah, Langolier definitely caught his bat on. That's catcher interference, 100%. Let's see what happens. Yep. You can even see Langolier's wince on that. All right, it's technically under review, and Aaron Judge is on first base. So, Runner on first, one out here, bottom of the first inning. Here comes Cody Bellinger with a man on. That was catcher interference on the part of Langoliers, so Aaron Judge is sitting at first. Cody Bellinger, 267 so far this year with a home run, 7 RBIs. Here's the first pitch. It's a ball down and away, a sinker to the left-handed hitting Bellinger, and the count is 1-0. Langoliers from the stretch. He comes set above the belt. And the pitch. Down and away and out of the zone, a sinker. Home plate umpires calling that one a ball, and the count is 2-0. Aaron Judge leads off first. Civale comes set right at about the belly button. Here's a 2-0 pitch. Swinging strike. Right on through that did Bellinger. And the count is now 2-1 to Cody. Still want to keep calling him Clay, but you know what? That just shows how long I've been watching baseball. He's not his dad. He's his own man. And time is granted by the home plate umpire to Cody Bellinger. And the count remains 2-1. He's back on in the box. Civale comes set at the belt. And the 2-1 pitch. Curveball outside. Well out of the zone. And the count is now 3-1. So, fine early action here for the Yankees. Not much pop, but they seem to be moving things along. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Strike. Cutter down and away to Bellinger. And the count is now full 3 balls and 2 strikes. Civale comes set right at the numbers, throws over to first. Diving right on back safely is Aaron Judge. And we get to do 3-2 all over again. Yeah. When a man that's 6'7" is diving in your direction, I cannot imagine that is anything but unnerving. Here's the pitch. Ball 4, and the call is being challenged by Langoliers, the catcher for the A's. And here comes the ABS challenge. They are challenging the call of a ball. And he is absolutely right. The call is overturned, and that is the second out of the inning. So down looking goes Bellinger on the ABS that overturns the call, and that is the second out of the inning for the Yankees. Now here comes the red-hot Ben Rice. And here's the pitch. That is a cutter up and away and out of the zone to the big lefty first baseman for the Yankees, who's hitting .370 on the year. 3 home runs, 11 RBIs. All 3 of those home runs came over the weekend. And boy, sometimes that one that went in the second deck, I think it's still going. Here's the 1-0 from Civale. Curveball down and in to the big left-hander. The count is now 2-0 to Ben Rice. And 15 pitches so far this inning for Civale, who comes set time is granted by the home plate umpire. And we get to do it again. Ben Rice steps back on into the box. Civale comes set right at about the belly. Here's the pitch. Down and in, four-seam fastball out of the zone, and the count is now 3-0 to the Yankee first baseman. And, yeah, right now, you have to be a brave man to pitch inside to Ben Rice at the moment. Here's a 3-0 pitch, and that is called ball 4, and Ben Rice has taken second base. There does not appear to be a challenge on that call. So runners on first and second, 2 out here in the bottom of the first inning. No score here in the early going here at Yankee Stadium. That cutter was close. Very close up and out of the zone, but they do not choose to challenge it here early on. Even though with the successful ABS challenge from earlier in the inning, they still have both of theirs going forward. Here's Giancarlo Stanton batting .394 on the air. Here's the first pitch. Strike, cutter, outside corner to the big righty, and the count is 0-1. 394 home run, 6 RBIs, 974 OPS on the early year for Giancarlo Stanton. Civale comes set. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Dribbled down the third base side and out of play. And the count is quickly 0-2 to Giancarlo. 2+ hits in 6 of his 8 games this season, according to Yes. And the Saturday night game, I mean, they don't win that game without Giancarlo Stanton. I mean, he made so many opportunities for him in that one. 100%. Aaron Civale looks in and he steps off and gets back onto the rubber. He sits to the extreme first base side of the rubber. He comes set. Here's the pitch. Swinging strike 3, and that will do it. So the Yankees leave a couple of on, but they have nothing to show for it, unfortunately. So to the top of the second inning we go here at Yankee Stadium. There is no score after 1. I'm Paul DiCostanzo. That's the New York Yankees, and this is Bombers Game Mike. So that was kind of a odd, choppy inning, but what are you going to do? Now here comes Cam Schlittler out for his second inning work, and this is just fun. I mean, yeah, we're all here for fun, distraction, amusement, but there are some nights that are better than others, and Cam Schlittler in the early season has been fun in the extreme. Holy hell. If you see another Yankee fan, another one that's really into it, and if you're watching this play-by-play stream right now, which all I can say is thank you for joining me. Make yourself known in the chat. If you see another Yankee fan, be sure to wish him a happy Cam Schlittler day. You know, we are that lucky, to say the least. So, always a fine time. And, a couple of strikeouts to start the top of the first inning for him. It's as good as it gets. It's good as it gets. So, we'll be back here shortly for that. No question. With this commercial break in progress. This would be a great night to be at the stadium, too. Really, not that the weather is anything amazing, but anytime you get to see pitching this great in person, it's worth every penny. At least it is for me. But, hey, what can I tell you? Alrighty. Is that Manny Pacquiao throwing out the first pitch? I think it actually might be. Oh, that's cool. I haven't thought about him in a while. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, first pitch from Schlittler. Swinging strike, fastball. 0-1 to Rooker. It looked like to be a four-seamer. Yep, Manny Pacquiao. He's in the booth between Girardi and Kay this evening. That's entertaining. I'm all about that. Here's the 0-1 pitch for Schlittler. Swinging strike, and the count is quickly 0-2. A 97-mile-per-hour sinker on the inner half of the plate to the righty, Rooker, who's batting 176 with 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, 609 OPS through 9 games in this early 2026 campaign. Looking in is Schlittler. He winds, he deals, and it is a broken back shot to short. Caballero fields to first, fires in time, and that is the first out of the inning. So a broken back ground ball to short, fielded cleanly by Jose Caballero, and that is the first out in the inning. Now here comes Jacob Wilson, the 5th hitter tonight. The shortstop batting .237 so far through 9 games. No home runs, 3 RBIs, 553 OPS on the young campaign. Schlittler looks into the sign from Austin Wells, and with that very easy windup, he winds and deals. Strike, sinker, just out over the plate, 98 miles an hour, and the count is 0-1 to Wilson. And once again, Cam Schlittler, this is a guy who early on is learning to trust his stuff. He is not afraid of the strike zone. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That is a cutter up and away to the righty Wilson. The count is 1-1. And yes, they're already beginning to show the Vegas patch there on the left sleeve of the road grays for the A's here. Now, the 1-1 pitch from Schlittler. Swinging strike went right on through that 98 miles per hour on the inner half of the plate, and the count is now a 1-2. Cam Schlittler just getting up on the bump and dealing. And, you know, they talk about easy gas, but there's easy gas, and then there's just like this minimalistic windup. Time is granted by the home plate umpire about mid windup for Cam Schlittler. I don't know exactly what the idea was behind it there, but whatever it is, they seem fine. 20 pitches so far through 1 1/3 innings for Cam. Whatever the case is, he does not like being interrupted mid-windup, and quite frankly, neither do I. He has the sign. He winds, and the 1-2 pitch to Wilson. Foul down the first base side and out of play. The count remains 1-2. Four-seam fastball clocked at 98 miles per hour to Wilson from Cam Schlittler. Yes. Now, Schlittler has the sign. And the pitch. Fouled down the first base side and out of play. A sinker up in the zone of all places. And the count is still 1-2. There's nothing like watching a silent interview of Manny Pacquiao between Joe Girardi and Michael Kay. All you can do is see them gesticulating, and that's mostly Michael Kay. Now, here's the 2-2 pitch. Did he go around? No, he did not. And the count is 2-2 to Wilson. Schlittler is back on the bump. He winds, and the 2-2 pitch. Cutter well up and out of the zone to the right-hander, and the count is now 3-2. Lawrence Butler is on deck. Schlittler looks on in. He has the sign. And the 3-2 pitch. Strike three. Down goes looking is Wilson. And that'll be the second out of the inning. So I believe that is the third strikeout of the day so far for Cam Schlittler. 2 outs here in the top of the second inning. And really, here's the amazing part, right? There's a little bit of tension going into that pitch because if I remember correctly, he hasn't walked anybody in 2 starts so far in over 11 innings. So take that for what it's worth. Here is Butler, the left-hand hitter. The first pitch from Schlittler, swinging strike. Fastball over the outside corner to the left-hander, 97 miles per hour. Lawrence Butler through 8 games, 200 average, a home run, 4 RBIs, a 591 OPS in the young campaign. Schlittler has the sign from Austin Wells. He winds the 0-1 pitch. Four-seam fastball well up and out of the zone. Count is 1-1 to Butler. And Schlittler already has the sign. He's ready to go. He can't be moving fast enough right now. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Check swing. Did he go? No, says the third base umpire. And the count is 2-1. And I tend to agree with that on the part of the third base umpire there, based on what we can see. Oh, well, maybe not. No, I think actually he did go around, but what are you going to do? So it's a 2-1 count to Butler. And here's the 2-1 pitch. Swinging strike right on through that cutter at 95 miles per hour, swung Butler. And Cam Schlittler is 1 strike away from ending it here in the top of the second inning for the A's. He has the sign. He winds the 2-2 pitch. Just up and in, a cutter 94 miles per hour out of the zone. Schlittler wanted that one. Not enough to the point where he'd be willing to challenge it, but Austin Wells does a pretty good job at framing it, and every once in a while, you're even going to buy into your own propaganda. Now, The 3-2 to Butler. The pitch. Hit to left field. Underneath it is Bellinger. He gets it going back, and that is the third and final out of the inning. So 1, 2, 3, go the Athletics. We're heading to the bottom of the second inning. No score at Yankee Stadium. I'm Paul D. That's New York Yankee baseball, and this is Bombers Game Mic. Yes, truly wonderful. Truly wonderful stuff. Love it so far. All right. Every once in a while, you have to manipulate your lineup, yeah. Yeah, exactly. There we go. That's what we want. Always got to come ready. Always got to come prepared. So, through 1.5 innings, there hasn't been much to show for things going on so far. However, that's fine. Because Cam Schlittler is on his game. I think he's thrown 30 pitches so far through 2 innings. And, he's a strikeout pitcher. And over time, they're just going to throw a lot of pitches per start. They tend not to be very economical, even though for Cam Schlittler, his first 2 starts have been extraordinarily economical so far, which is a very fine thing to say the least. So, we're back here for the bottom of the second inning. Heading up to bat is the second baseman, Jazz Chisholm Jr., the 6th hitter. He seems to have kind of settled into that particular spot in the order here in the early going for the Yankees. And the first pitch, strike. Cutter outside corner to Jazz Chisholm from Aaron Civale. Jazz Chisholm is batting .194 on the year. And Civale looks in for the sign, and here's the 0-1 pitch. Well outside a sinker. And the count is a 1-1 to Jazz Chisholm Jr. Aaron Civale, he has the sign. The 1-1 pitch. Strike, sinker, out over the plate to the left-handed hitting Chisholm. And the count is now 1-2. And Jazz is definitely bundled up this evening for tonight's game. I think even has the mouth almost covered up. Trying to stay warm, long sleeves. Civale has the pitch. And here's the 1-2. Swinging strike 3. Down goes Chisholm, and that is the first out of the inning here for Aaron Civale and the A's. Yeah, it looks like he foul-tipped it in that glove for strike 3. Yeah. Not been, Jazz has had his moments with the bat so far in the early season, but he has definitely not found himself in a groove yet. Here's Rosario, the pitch. Fly ball down to left field, going into the corner, looking up, and it is gone! A solo home run for Ahmed Rosario. And the Yankees now take a 1-0 lead. Oh, an absolute moonshot. .399, a 105.1 exit velo. And the Yankees have themselves an early 1-0 lead on the solo home run by Ahmed Rosario in tonight, playing for the usual Ryan McMahon at third. So a quick 1-0 lead for the Yankees. Here we go. Now, into the box is my boy Austin Wells. Here's the pitch. Curveball down and into the left-handed catcher. The count is 1-0. Yeah, Ahmed Rosario just ran into that one. And you could tell by the way he was looking at everybody was looking at it as it got closer and closer to the pole that if it was fair, it's gone, and it was definitely gone. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Strike. Four-seam fastball outside corner. And the count is 1-1 to Austin Wells, who's batting 167, no home runs so far in these early 9 games. Here's the pitch. Cutter inside and out of the zone, up and in. The count is now 2-1 to Austin Wells, who's the 8th hitter here tonight. Here's the pitch. Fouled down the third base side and out of play. And the count is 2-2. 29 pitches so far in an inning and 1/3 for Aaron Civale in this young start. And here's the 2-2. Ball cutter outside corner. And the count is now full. 3-2 to Austin Wells. That was the 30th pitch of the night for Aaron Civale. He has the sign, and time is granted by the home plate umpire to my boy Austin Wells. Get to do it all over again. Full count here, Austin Wells. Yeah, and that was the thing about the Rosario home run is it didn't even look like he had gotten all of it, but it just kept going. Here's a 3-2. Ball 4, and the Yankees now have a 1-out base runner here in the bottom of the second with 1 out. Also on top of that, it also looked like the pitch was just like a little too in, a little too near the trademark of the bat. But no, it went the distance, guys. It went the distance, so 1-0 Yankees here. Now comes the Yankee shortstop, the 9-hitter, Jose Caballero. Here's the pitch. Strike, cutter, right over the middle of the plate and up, and the count is 0-1. 129, no home runs, an RBI, and a 335 OPS for Jose Caballero, who started each and every one of the Yankees' first 9 games. Here's the 0-1. Sinker down and away, well out of the zone to the right-handed hitting shortstop, and the count is now 1-1. And, of course, the A's have their infield at classic double play depth. First and third baseman are even with the bag, with the second baseman and shortstop playing back and even distance from second. Here's the 1-1. Strike, curveball, outside corner, round the knees, and the count is 1-2. Caballero didn't love the call, but he is definitely not feeling audacious enough to challenge it at the moment. Now, here's the 1-2 pitch. Fouled back and out of play, and the count remains 1-2. Probably the best pitch that Caballero has seen so far in this at-bat. You can genuinely tell he just missed the thing. Now, Civale comes set from the stretch. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Check swing. Did he go around? Checking over the first base umpire. No, says Blue down the first base line. And that brings the count to 2-2. 36 pitches so far for Civale through 1 1/3 inning here. So runner on first, 1 out here, 1-0 Yankees here in the bottom of the second inning. Jose Caballero is up. It is a 2-2 count. Aaron Civale comes set at the stretch. The 2-2 pitch, swinging strike 3. Down goes the Yankee shortstop, and that is the second out of the inning. So not a particularly impressive at-bat. And here comes the Yankee leadoff hitter for his second at-bat of the game and in as many innings. Trent Grisham, the left-hander, who, while the numbers don't look huge, he's had a pretty good start to the year. There's the pitch. Fly ball down the third baseline, giving chase of the third baseman out in front of the tarp, and it just flies back behind the quarter and foul, and it hits the ground. And usually he would tell you, as would every other third baseman in the league, that is most certainly a fly ball he should have caught. I get the feeling the Wind tonight might be playing some games. Yeah, Max Muncy knows he should have caught that thing. But it looks like the Wind just kind of took it away from him at the last second, and then it was out of his reach. But still a strike. Still a strike. Now, Civale comes set to the Yankees center fielder, Trent Grisham, 0 for 1 tonight. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Sinker inside, just missed the zone, just below the belt, and the count is 1-1. Trent Grisham, 167, no home runs, 4 RBIs, but if you've watched him, especially this past weekend, he seemed to be pretty much in the middle of every single Yankee rally. Now the 1-1 pitch. Ball, curveball, up and away, according to the home plate umpire. And the count is now 2-1. I'm a little surprised he didn't challenge that. But here we are. 40 pitches so far for Civale through 1 2/3 innings so far. And he comes set. The 2-2, 1-2 to Grisham. Cutter outside and out of the zone, and the count is 3-1. And Civale is back on the bump. He comes set above the belt. The pitch. Fly ball to left center field. Underneath it is the center fielder. Just a few steps back and to his left, and that is the third and final out of the inning. So 1 run on one very big hit from Ahmed Rosario. We go to the top of the third inning. It is 1-0 Yankees. I'm Paul D, and this is Bombers Game Mike. 1-0 Yankees. Nothing like a midweek game in April. Am I right, folks? Am I right? I think I'm right. Little something for you to be able to come home to after a long day. Or, if you work the graveyard shift, a little something to wake up to. Either one's fine. Yes. Oh, what I wouldn't give to have some actual yes commercials. MLB.TV has the absolute worst commercials in the world. I know. All right. Cam Schlittler is going to be coming on out for his third inning of work. And so far, as I recall, he has faced the minimum. Yeah, he has faced the minimum. 0-0-1 for the A's, 1-1-0 for the Yankees. Heidi-ho to that. So Cam Schlittler is going to face the 7-hitter here. I'm not saying it. I'm not going to say the words. If you're a baseball fan, you know better than to say the words when you see a box score like that early on. There's the pitch. Strike. Sinker outside corner to the righty, Max Muncy. 96 miles per hour, and the count is 0-1. Max Muncy, 314, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 905 OPS on the young season. And the 0-1 from Schlittler. Cutter high and out of the zone. The count is 1-1. 33 pitches here going into his third inning of work is Schlittler. He has the sign in from Austin Wells. And the 1-1 pitch. Swinging strike right on through that, a sinker down and in, 95 miles per hour to Muncy. And the count is now 1-2 from Schlittler. And Muncy is in. Schlittler winds and deals. Ground ball to the left side. Fielding is Rosario, and it appears to be a foul ball. Is it? Is it indeed? Did he foul it off his foot or something? No, just looks like an infield hit, folks. So, hey, he's no longer facing the minimum. It's going to happen. And so Cam Schlittler is going to be pitching from the stretch. Yep, fair ball. Yeah, them's the breaks, folks. That was just a perfectly placed and softly hit enough ground ball for an infield single. There was no play to make. Here is the first pitch of the 8-hitter McNeil. Ball down. Four-seam fastball, 96 miles per hour, according to Yes, and the count is 1-0. Jeff McNeil, 174, no home runs, and RBI, 443 OPS through 8 games in the early campaign for the A's second baseman tonight. Schlittler from the stretch, the 1-0 pitch, and it is hit right up the middle and past Jazz Chisholm. Staying at second is Muncy, and now the A's have runners on first and second with nobody out here in the top of the third inning. And so that looks like almost a cutter that just kind of spun there up and in, and then he was all over it. So runners on first and second, nobody out. Cam Schlittler is now in a jam. And now here's the 9-hitter Clark, hitting 190 so far through 8 games. No home runs, 2 RBIs, a 451 OPS. Coming set from the stretch is Schlittler. And the first pitch of Clark, he fakes down the throw to second base, but no throw. So runners on first and second, nobody out here in the top of the third inning. 1-0 Yankees here at Yankee Stadium early on. Cam Schlittler comes set. And the righty deals. Giving bunt is Clark, and it is foul. Down to the third base coach, who makes the nice bare-handed play. And the count is 0-1. So it's definitely nippy at the stadium tonight. Pretty much, you can tell. Everybody's got the long sleeves on. They've got the balaclava over the face, the whole deal. Now here's the 0-1 pitch. Giving bunt is Clark out in front of the plate. Letting it go foul does Austin Wells, and it just absolutely takes a last-second turn foul down the third baseline, and the count is 0-2. So now with 2 strikes, it's unlikely Clark is going to go and give bunt again, obviously, because if he hits it and then bunts it foul, that would be the third strike. So Cam Schlittler has the 9-hitter Clark here in an 0-2 hole. Runners on first and second, nobody out. 1-0 Yankees here. He has the pitch. He comes set. And the 0-2 to Clark. He throws down to second. Applying the tag is Jazz Chisholm, but Muncy is safe by a mile. And the count remains 0-2. 39 pitches so far tonight for Cam Schlittler through 2+ innings of work. Schlittler comes set above the belt. Here's the pitch. Giving around bunt, brings it on back well out of the zone, up and in, a sinker, 96 miles per hour to Clark, and the count is 1-2. Nick Kurtz, who's 0-1, is on deck, the leadoff hitter for the Athletics. Now, Cam Schlittler comes set at the stretch. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and he gives bunt. Fielding is Rosario, throwing to first in time to make the play. So, a very gutsy 2-strike bunt there by Clark, and that will be the second out of the inning. So, that will advance the runners from first to second and third for Nick Kurtz, the leadoff hitter, the first baseman tonight, who's 0-1 with a strikeout in the first. Cam Schlittler is 1 out away from getting out of this jam, but there is still a long way to go. Here's the pitch. Strike, fastball right over the plate. Looks like a 4-seam job somewhere in the high 90s. And the count is 0-1. Runners lead off second and third, 2 out here. in the top of the third inning. Here's the pitch. Four-seamer high and out of the zone, up and in really to the left-handed hitter, Kurtz. And the count is 1-1. And there is, in fact, only one out here in the top of the third inning. Thank you, yes, for correcting your score bug. Now, here's the 1-1 pitch. Fouled back behind the plate and out of play. And the count is now 1-2 to Kurtz. And boy, if you're Cam Schlittler here, who has thrown 45 pitches through 2 1/3 innings here so far, would you not love to get one right here? He comes set. The pitch, well out and away with the zone. A four-seam fastball, nowhere near strike zone. That was out over the right-handed hitting batter's box, in fact. And the count is now 2-2. So runners on second and third, one out here, 1-0 Yankees in the top of the third. The A's are threatening. Schlittler steps off the rubber. And they're going to go through the pitch selection again. I can only wonder what they will choose. Schlittler comes set above the belt. And the right-hander deals. Fly ball to center field, and it splits the outfielders. It will go all the way to the wall. Both runners will score. And that is an RBI double for the A's, and they take a 2-1 lead off of the RBI double. So that is very unfortunate. In fact, those are the first 2 runs so far that Cam Schlittler, certainly earned runs, that he has allowed so far in this early campaign. And that one was middle, right? I don't care how hard you throw. If you put it middle out there to a major league hitter, especially somebody who's hitting in the top of a major league lineup, even if it's the A's, they're going to hit it. Here's the first pitch. Strike. Cutter right down the middle, 94 miles per hour. The count is 0-1 to Shea Langeliers, the catcher, who's 0-for-1 with a strikeout back in the first. Runner on second with one out here. 2-1 A's on the power of the 2-run double. Here's the pitch. Strike, sinker down and away to the right-hander, 97 miles per hour, and the count is now 0-2. So this is really one of the first times that Cam Schlittler has actually gotten his nose a little bloodied here in the early season. Amazing it took till the third start. Major leagues there. Not easy. Here's the 0-2. Ground ball to third base side and out of play. And the count remains 0-2. What I mean by that is even a guy that's as good as Cam Schlittler, over, 11 or so innings so far that he pitched coming into tonight, you figure you give up at least one run, you get into some kind of trouble. He really has been really quite flawless in every way you could possibly imagine. It's really kind of incredible when you think about it. Now, Schlittler looks in for the sign. Kurtz leads off second. Langeliers, the right-hander hitter, is up. And here's the 0-2 pitch. Swinging strike 3. A cutter out and over the plate, and that'll be the second out of the inning. And this one had height to it. It was breaking away. And ultimately, Langeliers, he just swung right underneath that thing, never really had a chance. And boy, when you see that angle where they have the steady cam or one of the set cams from behind home plate and you're looking at a pitch coming in from Schlittler, it's incredible. Here's the first pitch. Strike, curveball, down and away to left-handed hitting Soderstrom, and the count is 0-1. But when you get that camera angle looking right back in up at Cam Schlittler as he's delivering, that looks like it's like looking down the barrel of a loaded gun. It is incredible. Now, here's the 0-1 pitch. Strike, four-seam fastball down and in to the left-hander, and the count is now 0-2 to Soderstrom. 52 pitches here. So 2-1 Athletics, runner on second, 2 out here. It's an 0-2 count to the left-hander, and Schlittler deals. Curveball in the dirt. Not particularly close, and the count is now 1-2. So 2-1 Athletics here in the top of the third inning on the power of that two-run double. The runner still sitting down there at second. There are two out here in the top of the third inning. Two out, 1-2 count to Soderstrom. And here's the 1-2 pitch. Foul down the third base side and out of play. The count remains 1-2. And yes, indeed, the A's have moved a lot. And if you're watching the Yes broadcast, they're just showing a decal of how much they have moved. Now, here's the 1-2 pitch. Fly ball down the third base side and out of play did Soderstrom. And the count remains 1-2. The runner leads off second, Kurtz, with his two-run double earlier in the inning. And the pitch hit to the right side and past a diving Ben Rice and down into the corner. Playing off the carom, it is stuck there. I cannot tell if it was touched by a fan. It is fielded by Aaron Judge, and the A's now have an RBI two-out double here in the top of the third inning. So a pair of doubles and 3 runs so far in this top of the third inning for Cam Schlittler. Definitely been his most difficult inning of the season so far. And on that one, it was just a low liner. Ben Rice diving over to his left, could not get to it in time. The ball just sticks there due to fan interference. So Soderstrom has an RBI double with 2 outs. He's down at second. Kurtz, of course, scores on the RBI double. And the A's have a 3-1 lead here. So this has been the most damage so far in the early season that Cam Schlittler has taken. And you know what? It was going to happen eventually. I was telling you this in the brief pregame. You got to take in as much as you can. Now, here comes Brent Cooper. He's in the 4 hole tonight. Brent Rooker, he's 0 for 1, grounded out back in the second. Soderstrom leads off second. Coming set is Schlittler from the stretch. And the first pitch, foul back behind the plate, a cutter, 93 miles per hour, and the count is 0-1. Long inning here for Cam Schlittler, 57 pitches so far through 2 2/3 innings of work. Now, Schlittler comes to the stretch. The pitch. Ground ball to the left side, fielded by Rosario. Throws to first in time, and that will do it. So, on a couple of big doubles, the A's put a 3 spot on the board against Cam Schlittler. We're going to the bottom of the third inning. It is 3-1 Athletics here after 2.5. I'm Paul DiCostanzo, and this is Bombers Game Mike. So we were going to see this eventually from Cam Schlittler. A major league lineup is going to get to him eventually. Fine. The question then becomes, well, how does he respond? That's really the big question any good major leaguer is going to ask. Anybody that has any knowledge of baseball, it's going to be, well, we knew he was going to get it eventually. So, what does he take from this? Right? Because so far he's thrown 3 innings. He's under 60 pitches. He has the ability to, if he's economical, certainly take the start into the 6th inning to be sure. But now it's the Yankees' offense to pick up Cam Schlittler. He's been picking up the check quite a bit so far this season. And so far, that's fine. I think anybody is willing to do that. But all the same. All right. Now, leading off the bottom of the third inning for the Yankees is the reigning AL MVP, Aaron Judge. The first pitch from Civale. Strike, slider down and away to the big Yankee right-handed captain. Count is 0-1. Now, the second pitch, fouled down the first base side and out of play, and the count is quickly 0-2. Aaron Judge struck out back in his first at-bat tonight. Time is granted by the home plate umpire to Aaron Judge. And, even though Aaron Civale has not been bulletproof in this game, we know that from the Ahmed Rosario solo job back in the second, he's been steady. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Fly ball to center field. Coming back is the second baseman. He's underneath it, and that is the first out of the inning. So Aaron Judge is 0 for 2 tonight. And here comes the Yankees left fielder, Cody Bellinger. Struck out back in the first, so he's 0 for 1. 258 on the year, a homer, 3 RBIs, 866 OPS. Civale has the sign. He winds and deals to Bellinger. Four-seamer up and away and out of the zone to the Yankee left-handed hitting left fielder. Count is 1-0. Aaron Civale, third-round pick by Cleveland back in 2016. Here's the pitch. Fly ball out to right field. He's underneath it. Couple of steps forward and to his left, and that'll be the second out of the inning. So, a quick couple of at-bats here for Aaron Civale, who has thrown 47 pitches so far through 3 2/3 innings. He has certainly been doing his job. Now Ben Rice is up. He walked back in the first inning. This guy is always a fun at-bat. And boy, you got to have balls of steel to pitch inside of him right now. Here's the pitch. Strike, curveball, outside corner to the big left-handed first baseman for the Pinstripers. The count is 0-1. Yeah. And the 0-1 pitch. Cutter just missed inside. I don't know. I might have considered challenging that if I had been the catcher. And the count is 1-1. Civale has the pitch. He winds the 1-1 pitch. Four-seam fastball down and away. It was originally called a ball, but it is being challenged. And the call is overturned. So the count is now 1-2. Originally called a ball. Overturned with ABS. It is a strike. And the count is now 1-2. Both the A's and Yankees have both of their challenges remaining here in regulation. And Civale winds the 1-2 pitch. Curveball in the dirt, well out of the zone to the big left-hander, and the count is now 2-2. Aaron Civale, 51 pitches so far. Now, here's the 2-2 pitch to Ben Rice. Fouled down the left field line and out of play, and the count is 2-2. And for the most part, they have been avoiding almost anything inside to Ben Rice here tonight. They've been doing their homework. Now, Civale winds and deals the 2-2. Sinker up and in, just missed the zone. And the count is now 3-2. Giancarlo Stanton is on deck. He's 0 for 1 tonight. Now Civale looks in for the pitch. He winds the 3-2 to Rice. Ball 4, curveball down and in, nowhere near the zone. And the Yankees now have themselves a 2-out walk and a 2-out base runner here in the bottom of the third inning. 3-1 A's on a pair of RBI doubles back in the top of the third for the A's. For the Yankees, their one run comes off an Ahmed Rosario solo job back in the second. Now here's Giancarlo Stanton, the Yankees' professional designated hitter. Stepping off is Civale, and we get to reset ourselves again. Runner on first, 2 out here in the bottom of the third inning. The right-hander comes set above the belt. Here's the first pitch. In the dirt, slider nowhere near the zone to the big Yankee right-hander. The count is 1-0. And Giancarlo Stanton has had a fine start to the season. Both the numbers look good, as do the practical stuff. 100%. If you've been watching the Yankees so far this year, he's in the middle of quite a lot. Civale comes set. The 1-0 pitch. Foul down the first base side, well out of play. And the count is 1-1. So 3-1 Athletics here in the bottom of the third inning. 2 out, runner on first after the 2 out walk to Ben Rice. A 1-1 count to Giancarlo Stanton. Aaron Civale comes set. Here's the pitch. Sinker outside. Just missed the zone. And the count is 2-1 to Giancarlo Stanton, who's certainly looking for something to drive because that is what he's always doing for the most part. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Cutter strike out and over the plate and away to the big Yankee right-hander. And the count is even 2-2. 58 pitches so far for Civale early on in this contest. He throws down to first. Back in time is Ben Rice. Close play. You could tell the first base umpire for a moment there looked like he wanted to wind up. And are they going to... they're challenging the call. The first base umpire looked at first as if he had rounded up, but he looks like he's safe. We'll see. Let's take a look on this replay here. And at first, the first base umpire looked like he was winding up to punch him out. But he appears safe. Absolutely appears safe. It was close, but he's safe. Now it's a 2-2 count to Giancarlo Stanton. Runner on first by way of a walk to Ben Rice. Here's a 2-2. Fouled straight back behind home plate. Just missed it, did Stanton. And the count remains 2-2. Yeah. So, looking in for the sign, Civale has it. He comes set. And the righty deals. Foul down the first base side and out of play. And the count remains 2-2. That was Civale's 60th pitch of the night for the homeless A's. Well, homeless for now. Civale comes set. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Fly ball out to center field. Coming in as a center fielder. He's underneath it, and that will do it. So, a 1-out, a walk to Ben Rice, but that's all they got. 3-1 Athletics after 3. And this is Bombers Game Mic. So let's see how Cam Schlittler bounces back after that top of the third. Because that's part of what development is all about. Really. That's really what it is about. And hopefully it works out. Yeah. I mean, one thing is for sure, any distance that Cam Schlittler can give Aaron Boone is obviously very much welcome at this point, given the uncertain state of the bullpen. I'm always a bullpen skeptic, even for like really great bullpens, with the exception of Mariano Rivera, who, there you go, right? Pretty much any reliever who's not him. All right, Cam Schlittler is back out on the bump for his fourth frame of work. He winds and deals. Strike. Sinker outside corner. And the count is 0-1 to the shortstop, Jacob Wilson. Schlittler has the sign from Austin Wells. He winds and deals. Ground ball to the right side. Fielding is Rice. Tosses to first. Schlittler has the play over at first. And that'll be a quick out here in the top of the fourth inning, which, if you're Cam Schlittler, is exactly what you want, which is, say, if you're the Yankees and Aaron Boone, that's definitely what you want. Now, here comes Lawrence Butler, 0 for 1, lined out back in the second tonight. That was the 60th pitch of the outing for Cam Schlittler, and the Yankees shift over to the right side, defensively in alignment. Here's the pitch. Cutter up and into the left-handed hitting Butler, and the count is 1-0. Schlittler looks in for the sign. He winds the 1-0 pitch. Strike, cutter, outside corner, 89 miles per hour. One of the slower cutters you will ever see Cam Schlittler actually throw. Now, the 1-1. Swinging strike, swung right on through that four-seam fastball, did Butler. Right underneath that thing. Rode well and up into the zone, and the count is now 1-2 to Butler. Schlittler looks in, winds, the 1-2 pitch. Four-seam fastball well up and out of the zone, 94 miles per hour. And the count is 2-2. I don't know that we've seen Cam Schlittler hit triple digits here tonight, but that's not the purpose behind pitching. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Strike 3. And it is immediately challenged by Butler. It looked like it was a cutter down and into him. So we're going to find out here what the ABS has to say. And the call is overturned. So that will bring the count full 3-2 to Butler. It missed by 0.2 inches. Just missed. And he didn't, goodness. The home plate umpire didn't even finish making the punch out by the time Butler had challenged it. He was tapping his helmet so quickly. Here's a 3-2 pitch. Swinging strike 3, and that will be the second out of the inning. So you can win the ABS challenge, but you can't challenge the fact that you just swung and missed, my friend. So 2 outs here, top of the fourth inning. 3-1 A's after a 3 spot back in the top of the third inning off a pair of RBI doubles. Cam Schlittler seems to be responding well coming back from all of that. Both teams still have both of their ABS challenges. And the first pitch to Muncy, ground ball to left side, fielded by Caballero, throws to Rice at first, and that will do it. So a quick 1-2-3 inning for Cam Schlittler. He bounces back quite well. It is 3-1 Athletics going to the bottom of the fourth inning. I'm Paul D, and this is Bombers Game Mike. Yeah. So I think that went about as well as it possibly could for Cam Schlittler. Let's take a look at his line so far tonight. All right. Cam Schlittler so far, 4 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 runs, all earned, critically, no walks, and 5 strikeouts. Pretty impressive stuff. Pretty impressive stuff. You really can't ask for more than that. Getting some of that stretching in here. As we go to the bottom of the 4th inning, the A's have a 3-1 lead after a big top of the 3rd inning after a pair of RBI doubles. Now, leading off here for the Yankees in the bottom of the 4th inning is the second baseman Jazz Chisholm, who of course is 0 for 1 with a strikeout back in the 2nd. He's been all over the place this season in a lot of different ways. I'm a big Jazz guy, but he hasn't looked comfortable. Here's the first pitch. Strike, cutter, outside corner to the left-handed hitting Jazz Chisholm Jr., and the count is 0-1. Having a little chat there with the home plate umpire. If it's about the strike zone, I don't know how much more you want him to say. 62 pitches so far tonight for Civale over 3+ innings of work. Now, the 0-1 from Civale. Curveball outside, missed the zone by a few inches, in fact. The count is 1-1 to Jazz. Now, the 1-1 pitch. Grounded to the right side, fielded is the second baseman. He throws to first in time. Gets Chisholm by about a step, and that'll be the first out of the inning. And, yeah, the second baseman, he picked it on up there, and it wasn't a clean pickup, but he kept it in front of him, made the throw over to Muncy at first. The throw was clean, certainly beat him by about a step, easily going down the line. Jazz was running out. Now here comes Ahmed Rosario, who's 1 for 1 with that solo home run tonight. He is the sole contributor to the Yankee offense. Here's the pitch. Strike, slider, outside corner to the right-handed hitting Ahmed Rosario, who's hitting .286, 2 hits and 7 at-bats, a home run and 2 RBIs. One of those RBIs came back in the 2nd. Here's the pitch. Slider, strike, backed on up over the plate. And the count is 0-2 to Ahmed Rosario, who, of course, is giving the left-handed Ryan McMahon the night off tonight. Here's the 0-2 from Civale. Strike 3. Just went and chased that 75-mile-per-hour curveball for the 2nd out of the inning. So a couple of quick outs here for Aaron Civale. 67 pitches so far. And here comes the 8-hitter, my boy, the left-handed hitting catcher, Austin Wells, who walked back in the 2nd. So he does not have an official at-bat so far. Now the first pitch to Wells, pop foul behind the plate and out of play, and the count is 0-1. And the bases are empty here with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th inning. 3-1 Athletics here at Yankee Stadium. The 0-1 from Civale. Splitter in the dirt near the feet of Austin Wells, and the count is 1-1. And boy, Austin Wells really does put the everyday in everyday catcher. He does not take much time off. Here's the 1-1. Four-seam fastball up and away to the left-hander. Out of the zone, 91 miles per hour. The count is 2-1. The 70th pitch tonight for Aaron Civale, who's been relatively economical for his part. Now the 2-1. Curveball, strike, outside corner, 77 miles per hour. on the outside corner, and the count is now 2-2. Aaron Civale looks in for the sign. He winds the pitch. Foul down the left field side and out of play. Do it all over again. The Yankees haven't had much humming as far as the offense goes, with the exception of Ahmed Rosario running into one back in the second. Civale looks in. He is from the full wind. And here's the 2-2 pitch. Fouled off. A curveball down and in, 78 miles per hour. Just got a piece of that. Did Austin Wells with his torpedo bat. On deck is the Yankee shortstop, Jose Caballero. He's 0 for 1 tonight. Now, Civale looks in for the sign. The right-hander winds and deals. Strike 3. Austin Wells might go down looking, but he is challenging the strike 3 call on the inside corner, so we sit and wait for ABS. And the call is confirmed. Strike 3. So no one on, no runs across. We go to the top of the 5th inning. 3-1 A's here at Yankee Stadium. I'm Paul D, and this is Bombers Game Mic. So Cam Schlittler will be coming out for his 5th inning of work. And with the exception of the 3 spot back in the 3rd inning, you know, he's been Cam Schlittler. 1,000%. 1,000%. He responded well coming off of that, you know, the moment that we were all waiting for, one that is invariably going to come for all of us, and certainly those of us who play Major League Baseball, which is Major League hitters are going to hit eventually. The question is, how do you respond, and how does the Yankee offense back up Aaron Judge? That's the big question. Very big question. All right, Cam Schlittler's on the bump for the top of the 5th inning. He winds and deals. 4-seam fastball up and in to the left-hander McNeil, and the count is 1-0. Jeff McNeil, 1 for 1, a single in the 3rd, and a run scored. So the second baseman certainly has plenty to show for it tonight. The Yankees did lose a challenge with that earlier in the bottom of the 4th inning. And the count is 1-1, I believe. 2-0, The pitch. Foul down the third base side and out of play. The count is 2-1 now. That was Cam Schlittler's 70th pitch tonight. And Bird, the right-hander, is up in the pen for the Yankees. So they're being very careful with their prize right-hander, as they should be. The 2-1. Cutter up and away out of the zone to the left-hander McNeil, and the count is now 3-1, the 71st pitch. Yeah, they're going to protect him. They are, but there's going to come a point in the season where you're going to have to take the training wheels off. It's the big leagues, and we got to play baseball. We got to compete. Here's the 3-1. Hit up the middle and through for a base hit. Fielding is Grisham. He tosses it back in, and that is a lead-off single for the A's here in the top of the 5th inning for McNeil. Cruz is now up in the pen as well. So Bird and Cruz, double-barrel bullpen action. A couple of righties out there in the Yankee bullpen up and getting loose. Now, obviously, if you're Aaron Judge, you'd love for Schlittler to get through this, but let's see what happens. Here's the pitch. Bunting down the first baseline, and foul does Clark. And that'll be the first strike. That's basically what Clark has been doing all night. I'm not sure that he's put a full swing out there. He's given bunt a couple of times, once successfully. He obviously had a sacrifice earlier in the game. And you know what? With a runner on first, nobody out, and as the 9-hitter, that's definitely not the worst idea in the world. It's certainly ABC baseball. Schlittler comes set from the stretch. And the 0-1 to Clark. He gives bunt again. He pulls back, and it is a sinker for a strike right over the middle, 95 miles per hour. And the count is now 0-2. Ben Rice holding the runner over at first, who takes his lead. Cam Schlittler comes set ahead in the count, 0-2. The pitch, down and away, sinker out of the zone. Clark bluffs bunt, but brings it on back. The count is now 1-2. 75 pitches for Schlittler. Rosario is about even with the bag. Ben Rice holding the runner at first. And here's the 1-2. Swinging strike, sinker right over the top of that thing. And that'll be the first out of the inning. So timely strikeout on the part of Cam Schlittler. Yeah, that was a sinker, and Clark just swung right over the top of it. Probably missed it by about 2 inches. Probably. So, 1 on, 1 out here in the top of the 5th inning. Back to the top of the lineup. Here's Kurtz. Here's the pitch. Ground ball to the right side, fielded by Jazz Chisholm. Throws to second, 1 on to first, and that will only get 1. So, Kurtz will get on with the fielder's choice after the force at second. So let's see. Are they going to let Cam Schlittler get the final out here in the top of the 5th inning? We shall see. He's only thrown 77 pitches. And the catcher, Shea Langelier, he's 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts tonight. So if you're going to let him get out of the inning, this is definitely the guy to do it with. Schlittler comes set from the stretch. First pitch, Langeliers. Ball, four-seam fastball just outside. Four-seam fastball. The count is 1-0. Schlittler looks in. He comes set above the belt. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Swinging strike, cutter, 93 miles per hour over the outside corner. Langeliers missed that thing by about 2 or 3 inches easily. And it is a 1-1 count. Schlittler looks to the runner over at first, being held on by Ben Rice. And here's the 1-1. Swinging strike, swung right on through that cutter on the outside corner to the right-handed hitting Langeliers. And the count is 1-2. So Schlittler, he's at 80 pitches here. And he is 1 strike away from getting out of this top of the 5th inning. No doubt he wants to. 6 strikeouts so far tonight. He comes set. The pitch. Fouled off the foot does Langeliers on a night like tonight. That does not sound like fun. Yes, Cam Schlittler has pitched 4 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, all earned, no walks, 6 strikeouts. Now he comes set for the 1-2. He deals. Cutter up and out of the zone. Not particularly close. 93 miles per hour clocked by Yankees Entertainment and Sports. and the count is now 2-2. Cam Schlittler comes set at the belt. Throws over to first, and the throw gets slightly away from Ben Rice, but Kurtz will stay right there. 82 pitches so far in this outing for Cam Schlittler. So if he manages to get through this one here, right, that would be a very respectable pitch total. Good body of work. He comes set. The 2-2. Foul down the right field line and out of play. And the count remains 2-2. So 3-1 Athletics here in the top of the fifth inning. Runner on first with 2 out. It's a 2-2 count here to the catcher Langeliers, who's 0 for 2 tonight. Cam Schlittler comes set at the belt. And the 2-2 pitch. Swinging strike 3, and that'll do it. So the Ace strand 1, and we go to the bottom of the fifth inning. 3-1 Athletics here at Yankee Stadium. I'm Paul D, and this is Bombers Game Mic. So, leading off, we have Caballero in the 9-hole, followed by Trent Grisham, and then, of course, with Aaron Judge in the hole. Going to the bottom of the fifth here, I think it's unlikely that Cam Schlittler is going to come out for the 6th. I think if that inning had gone on too much longer, Aaron Boone probably would have went to the pen, but, 3 earned through 5. 7 strikeouts, I believe, so far tonight for Cam Schlittler. Yeah, 7 strikeouts, no walks. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. Beyond impressive, to say the least. But we've come to expect these things from Cam Schlittler. And after, that rough top of the third with a pair of RBI doubles, that is the A's offense for tonight, he's come back. He's bounced back well. But right now, Aaron Boone, Brian Cashman, they're going to protect their prize young right-hander from Walpole, Massachusetts. And, can't blame them, really. I mean, just given all the potential that he has and what he can mean for the Yankees going forward, especially with Garrett Cole and hopefully Carlos Rodon and his hamstring getting straightened out. We're here in the bottom of the fifth inning. Leading off is the right-handed shortstop, Jose Caballero. It's 0 for 1 tonight. He struck out earlier. And Civale is back out for his 5th frame of work. 74 pitches so far tonight for Aaron Civale. Rather crafty, this one is, Civale. Now, the first page from Civale. Swinging strike, swung right on through the cutter over the outside corner. Did the right-handed hitting shortstop Caballero. The count is 0-1. And the Yankees got to start putting some offense together here. About time. Here's a pitch. There's a ball up and away to the right-handed hitting shortstop. Count is 1-1 to Caballero. Caballero is a light-hitting shortstop, and he's done a serviceable job starting defensively. Here's a pitch. Hit to left field, fly ball, and it is going to split the outfielders and go all the way to the wall. Caballero digs for second, and he is in there with a stand-up double leading off here in the bottom of the 5th inning. So, hey, the Yankees need offense, and they need it as soon as possible. So a lead-off double, a stand-up double by Jose Caballero. And here comes the top of the Yankee order with the left-handed hitting center fielder Trent Grisham. Lord knows you want to get Caballero over. All for that. So a lead-off double, a stand-up double. For a stand-up guy, I'm assuming. I don't want to find out, honestly. Caballero leads off second. Trent Grisham is at the plate. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Here's the pitch. Cutter up and in and out of the zone from Civale, and the count is 1-0. Yeah, 0 for 2. Ground out, fly out. Aaron Judge is on deck. Bellinger is in the hole. Civale comes set at the stretch. And he looks in. The 1-0 pitch. Fly ball to short center field. Underneath it is the shortstop. He has it, and that will be the first out of the inning. So, Trent Grisham sees 2 pitches and is responsible for the first out here. And here comes the reigning American League most valuable player, the Yankee captain, number 99, Aaron Judge, who's 0 for 1, reached on catcher interference back in the first, and I believe struck out in the third, as I recall. Now, the first pitch to Judge. Cutter outside, down and away to the massive right-hander. Correction, he did not strike out. Now, throws back to second. Back to second is Caballero safely. Civale clearly is not afraid of trying to put a pickoff move down there at second, even though that's so often a death trap for pitchers. From the stretch is the right-hander Aaron Civale. Leading off second is Caballero. Here's the pitch. Strike, slider, outside corner, challenged by Aaron Judge. The count is currently 1-1. Let's see what the ABS challenge has to say. And the call is overturned. So the Yankees still have 1 challenge left. It missed by 0.5 inches, so it missed by half an inch down and away. The Yankees retain their final challenge of the night. It is a 2-0 count to Aaron Judge. Civale comes set. He deals. Strike, curveball out and over the plate, and the count is 2-1 to Aaron Judge. 5 for 18 in his career off Aaron Civale is Aaron Judge with a couple of doubles. That's something to behold. Civale comes set above the belt. The 2-1. Sinker well out and away, nowhere near the zone. Basically out over the left-handed hitter's batter's box. Count is 3-1. Cody Bellinger is on deck. Ben Rice is in the hole. Civale comes set. The 3-1 to Judge. Did he go around? No, says the first base umpire. So a 1-out walk for Aaron Judge. And the Yankees have runners on first and second and 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning for the left fielder, the left-handed hitting Cody Bellinger, who's 0 for 2 tonight with a strikeout and a flyout, hitting .250 on the year, home run, 3 RBIs. And the A's have a right-hander up in the pen, right-hander Sterner. And it looks like, what's going on here? There's some kind of conference going on there between Caballero, Judge, and the first base coach, because there is a conference on the mound with Civale, who undoubtedly they're just giving time to the right-hander down in the pen for the A's. So it's 3-1 Athletics here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Runners on first and second, 1 out. The A's have their entire offense after a pair of RBI doubles back in the 3rd. The Yankees single run is off a solo job by Ahmed Rosario in tonight for Ryan McMahon. Bellinger is in the box. Aaron Civale comes set and throws down to second. And it is caught by Wilson, even though Wilson was nowhere near the bag. And, of course, Jose Caballero was safe by about a mile. I don't know why Civale wants to keep playing around here. He comes set at the belt. And the first pitch to Bellinger, grounded to the right side and foul. Looks like might have gotten a piece of Bellinger there. That doesn't look fun. Yeah, he's hopping a little bit. That looked uncomfortable for old 3-5 there. Yeah, let's see the side here. Oh yeah. Yeah, he fouled it off his big toe on his right foot. So his foremost foot for the left-hander. Judge leads off first. They are not even holding him over there. Leading off second is Caballero. Here's the pitch. Grounded to the right side. Fielded is the second baseman. Throws to first in time for the second out of the inning. The runners will move up to second and third on that one. So the Yankees now have runners on second and third, 2 out here for Ben Rice here in the bottom of the fifth inning. Rice does not have an official at bat tonight because he's walked twice. And Bird is just biding his time down the Yankee bullpen. He's clearly coming in for the top of the sixth. Now the first pitch to Ben Rice. Swinging strike right on through that one. Cutter up in the zone. The count is 0-1. So 3-1 A's here, bottom of the fifth inning. 2 out, runners on second and third. With Ben Rice up here. 2 runners in scoring position. 2 out. Here's the pitch. And it is a fly ball out to shallow left field. Underneath it is left fielder. He's got it, and that will do it. So the Yankees threaten, but unfortunately have nothing to show for it. So the Yankees strand 2, and it is 3-1 A's going to the top of the sixth inning. We have a pitching change. I'm Paul DiCostanzo. This is Yankee Baseball, and this is Bombers Game Mike. You know, to Aaron Civale's credit, with the exception of the one that Ahmed Rosario ran into, he has managed to keep the A's very much in this game, and the Yankees not nearly as close as they would like to be, to say the least. This is very much a midweek, early April game for a season. I mean, it's a lot better than no game in early January, but you can tell that the Yankees have not exactly hit their stride tonight, even though they did get a reasonably effective outing from Cam Schlittler. So they're going to be going to the bullpen, and Schlittler's final line tonight, 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 runs, all earned, no walks, 7 strikeouts. And Bird is coming into the game, who's had a pretty decent season so far, as I recall. I mean, you certainly can't complain about his performance so far, certainly compared to, other members of the Yankee pen. Oh, yes, Alejandro Kirk, expected to miss 6 weeks after undergoing surgery on his fractured left thumb today. Not great news for Toronto, but, I don't think we'll be crying Toronto a river of tears anytime soon. Jake Bird is in. This season, 6.23 ERA, so, the numbers don't look great. Here's the pitch. Strike, curveball, right out over the plate to the left-hand hitting Soderstrom, who's 1 for 2 with an RBI double back in the third. That was the third run that was driven in that inning. Here's the 0-1. Down the right field line and to the wall. Playing the carom is Judge. He throws it in, and it is a long single for Soderstrom. That was played very, very quickly by Aaron Judge. It was also hit fairly well. It bounced right to him. And the A's have a long leadoff single here in the top of the sixth inning. So not a great start for Bird. Just dropped the head of the bat there. It's right out over the plate. You can't really be shocked when you put one there in front of a major league hitter. Here's Rooker, the pitch. Sweeper inside and out of the zone to the right-handed Rooker. Count is 1-0. So the A's have a runner on first and nobody out here in the top of the sixth inning. Brent Rooker's 0 for 2 with a pair of groundouts tonight. Here's the 1-0 pitch. A sweeper strike inside corner. The count is 1-1. Bird looks in for the sign. He comes set at the belt. And the 1-1 pitch. Sweeper inside and up. Count is 2-1. Nobody is going to be contesting that call. Count is 2-1. Bird comes set once again. The runner leads off first. The pitch. Strike, curveball down and away. Hits the outside corner. And count is now 2-2. Bird working quickly here tonight out on the bump. He comes set above the belt. And the 2-2 pitch. Swinging strike 3. First out of the inning via strikeout. And that will be a strikeout for Bird. Yeah, nice breaking ball. Rooker just swung right underneath that one. Missed it by maybe half an inch. And Bird just releases that thing in a perfect 3/4 arm action. Now up is Wilson, the right-hander. Comes set as Bird, the pitch. Swinging strike, sinker outside corner. Swung right through it, did Wilson. And the count is 0-1. One out here in the top of the 6th inning. Runner on first. 3-1 A's here in the top of the 6th. And the 0-1 from Bird. Sweeper inside corner to the righty Wilson. And the count is quickly 0-2. And with the exception of that long leadoff single, Bird has been reasonably effective so far. He comes set above the belt. The 0-2. Fly ball out to right center. Charging in is Judge. He calls for it, and he cuts it, hauls it in for the second out of the inning. So, a couple of quick outs here after that leadoff long single. And, of course, the A's still do have a runner on first here with 2 out. It's 3-1 A's here in the top of the 6th inning with 2 outs. And the Yankees are going to the pen. Brent Hendrick, the left-handed pitcher, is coming on in. Aaron Boone is making the change. So, 3-1 A's, 2 outs here in the top of the 6th inning. Here comes the lefty. I'm Paul D. This is Bombers Game Mike. So, not altogether a bad outing for Bird. He definitely composed himself after that leadoff single. Not going to complain about that. The strikeout and the easy fly out. Taken care of by Aaron Judge. Now here comes Brent Hendrick, who has done a pretty decent job so far this year. I can certainly understand why they're going to the lefty. Makes sense. So, certainly they're looking to get this inning through, and so they can get back out there and try to get back in this game offensively, which they desperately need to do at this point. No question there. So, we wait for the warm-ups, and we sit through the interminably long period of time that is any pitching change. Yeah, they're showing images of A's past, one of them of which is the old eccentric owner Charlie O. Finley, who, of course, had originally owned the Kansas City A's, and they moved him out to Oakland. You know, he's an interesting guy in baseball. Among his more interesting ideas, baseball never chose to adopt, which was making the baseball orange. Now, the first pitch from Hendrick. Strike, forcing fastball outside corner to the left-handed hitting Butler. The count is 0-1. Hendrick No earned runs through 5 innings pitched so far. 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, an opponent average of 250. Here's the pitch. He checked down the third. Did he go around? No, says Blue down the third baseline, and the count is 1-1. So he's in clearly for the lefty-lefty matchup here. He comes set and deals, throwing down to second and throws it into center field, and he will take third on that one. So he steals second, and then, of course, Austin Wells overthrows the throw down to second. It's nowhere even close. Caballero didn't have a chance. The runner gets up and then heads down to third, so that makes things a lot more difficult here. Not a great showing by my boy Austin Wells there. Here's a 2-1. Just inside slider, just missed the zone. And the count is 3-1 with a runner on third and 2 out. Hendrick comes set. He deals. Ball 4. So now the A's have runners on first and third for 2 outs here in the top of the 6th inning. I don't believe there's going to be any change of address for Hendrick in this game. Now comes Max Muncy, the third baseman. He's 1 for 2 tonight, a single in the third and a run scored. Hitting .324 in the air with a couple of home runs, 5 RBIs. Runners on first and third. 3-1 A's here in the top of the 6th with 2 outs. And the first pitch to Muncy. Swinging strike right on through that one. 4-seam fastball up in the zone. And the count is 0-1 to Max Muncy. Hedrick looks in for the sign. The runners lead off first and third. Here's the pitch. Slider well outside of the zone over the left-handed hitting batter's box. And the count is 1-1 to Muncy. Jeff McNeil is on deck. Hedrick looks in for the sign. He comes set at the belt. He deals. Swinging and foul back. Behind the plate did Muncy, and the count is now 1-2. 8 pitches so far for Hedrick. Hedrick is 1 strike away from getting out of this jam. Very little of it his own doing. Hedrick comes set. And the 1-2 pitch. Down and away, a splitter out of the zone to the right-handed hitting Max Muncy. And he has taken second on that. So runners on second and third with 2 outs here. Hedrick comes set. The pitch. Did he go around? Yes, says the first base umpire. And Hedrick gets out of the jam. So the A's leave 2 on, but they have nothing to show for it. 3-1 A's going to the bottom of the 6th inning. I'm Paul DiCostanzo, and this is Bombers Game Mike. Ooh. This has definitely not been the Yankees' most distinguished game of the year so far. And on Cam Schlittler Day of all days. Of all days. Oh, well. Well, they're still very much in this game. You know, you're down 3-1 at home going to the bottom of the 6th inning. The Yankees have more than enough firepower in their lineup to make up that deficit with the time that remains. You know, a good 12 outs to work with to try to make up the deficit. And there are greater deficits out there. So let's see where the A's go with this one. It looks like they're bringing in Sterner in relief of Aaron Civale, who had 5 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run earned, 4 walks, and 6 strikeouts tonight. The only run, the home run off the bat of Ahmed Rosario back in the second. So he did a pretty decent job for them. Here's the first pitch of Stanton. There's a strike, outside corner, and the count is 0-1 to the big right-hander, the Yankees' professional DH. Sterner comes set. The righty deals. Swinging strike. That was nowhere near the zone. That was a sweeper, 81 miles per hour, that basically landed in the left-handed hitter's batter's box. I think Stanton missed that thing by almost a friggin' foot. Sterner has pretty good numbers so far in the year. ERA in the low twos. Here's the pitch. Sweeper inside to Giancarlo, and the count is 1-2. 1-2. Sterner comes set. And the righty deals. Strike 3, swinging right over the sweeper. And that will be the first out of the inning for the Yankees. So he goes down on about 4 pitches here. Sterner definitely showing some effectiveness early on. Though, in fairness, Giancarlo did make that job a little easier for him. Now, here's Jazz Chisholm. He's 0 for 2 on the night. Sterner comes set. And the first pitch. Swinging strike over the sweeper, down and away. It was still very much in the zone. I think it would have been a strike regardless of whether he swung or not. Jazz is 0 for 2 for the night. 3-1 A's here in the bottom of the 6th inning, 1 out. Here's the pitch. Strike cutter inside corner, and the count is quickly 0-2 to Jazz, who struck out and ground out. He's hitting 184 on the year. Sterner comes set above the belt. Here's the 0-2. Just missed sweeper down and away. Good eye on the part of Jazz Chisholm. And the count is 1-2. Sterner has this kind of abbreviated short arm action. About 3/4 as far as I can tell. Yep. He's a short armer. Fouled down the third base side, giving chase to the third baseman, but it is well beyond the A's dugout, and the count remains 1-2. So he clearly has some deceptive action on his motion, does Sterner. And then he kind of gives you a short arm high release point. And stepping off is Sterner. He comes set. Above the belt, the pitch. Foul down the third base side and out of play. The count remains 1-2. That was a 4-seam fastball clacked by Yes at 93 miles per hour. Ahmed Rosario's on deck, the third baseman. He's 1 for 2 with a solo home run. The only run for the Yankees so far tonight. Sterner comes set above the belt. The pitch. Hit to the right side and past a diving first baseman, Muncy, and into right field. So a 1-out hit for Jazz Chisholm. And the Yankees now have a runner on first with 1 out for the third baseman, Ahmed Rosario, who earlier tonight, his home run to left field went 399 feet with an exit velo of 105.1 miles per hour. It was a bombola. Jazz leads off first. Sterner deals. Ground ball up the middle, fielded by the shortstop. On to second one. On to first. Double play. So that will do it. The Yankees strand the runner at first. And we head to the top of the 7th inning. 3-1 A's at Yankee Stadium for this first of 3. I'm Paul D, and this is Bombers Game Mike. definitely one of those nights for the Yankees where, Cam Schlittler was fine. It was obviously not his best start of the year. It was his worst start of the year, but that's relative, I think, all told. But, for all that it's worth, the Yankees really, really need to start stringing some at-bats together here and getting some runs because, as the old saying goes, it's getting late early. Very, very early. Due up here is the eighth hitter, McNeil, followed by Clark, who, if anything has taught us tonight, is going to, at least at one point in time, bluff bunt, followed by Kurtz, who, of course, is having a very good night. He has a couple RBIs so far in the game. Specifically, I believe, on that fourth inning two-run double, which has accounted for two of the A's 3 runs tonight. So, we wait here. Oh, the Savannah Bananas are coming to Yankee Stadium. Well, not going to miss that one, right? Definitely going to call that game. The Bananas are fine, but if you're a baseball fan, after a while the gimmick begins to wear off. I think they're probably good for the game in general, but really, nothing I really terribly look forward to. I'm just glad the game is being enjoyed. Hedrick's out for his second frame of work. Here's the first pitch to McNeil. A slider up and in and out of the zone. The count is 1-0. Jeff McNeil 2 for 2, 2 singles and a run scored. 240 on the year, no home runs, an RBI of 561 OPS. Hedrick comes set. The pitch. Slider down way, well out of the zone to the left-handed hitting McNeil. And the count is 2-0. I'm curious if Booney has anybody up in the pen. I get the feeling he wants Hedrick to eat this inning effectively. Here's the 2-0. Fast strike. Swung right on through that one, did McNeil. And the count is 2-1. Hedrick comes set at the belt. He deals. Four-seam fastball down and away just out of the zone, and the count is now 3-1 to McNeil. Hedrick is moving quickly, but we'll see. Here's the pitch. Ball 4. So a leadoff walk by McNeil. The A's have their leadoff runner on. And that will bring up Clark, who, let's face it, if there's one thing we know he'll probably try to do, based so far tonight, it's bunt. He's actually 0 for 1 with a sacrifice bunt back in the third. I'm not even sure that he's put a full swing out there yet. Hedrick looks in for the sign. Leading off is the runner at first. Hedrick comes set. And the first pitch of Clark throws over to first. Keeping him close over there is McNeil. And yes, Cruz, the right-hander, is up in the pen. Fernando Cruz for the Yankees. We'll see where this one goes. Here's the pitch. Strike. Four-seam fastball over the inside corner. 92 miles per hour, according to Yes. And the count is 0-1. So 3-1 A's here, top of the seventh inning. Leadoff runner is on for the A's. Nobody out. And the pitch. Swinging strike. Four-seam fastball to Clark, the 9-hitter. And the count is now 0-2. 17 pitches so far tonight for Hedrick, who has made the best of the situation he has been given. He comes set. He deals. Strike 3. Swung right over the top of that slider. Down in the way did Clark. And that'll be the first out of the inning for the Yankees. And yeah, the bullpen has gotten quite a bit of work. The bullpen budget, as the Yes graphic is likes to show us, Obviously, they had an off day yesterday, which helps reset things. Now, the leadoff guy, Kurtz, is up, and here's the pitch. Swinging strike, swung right over the top of that sinker down and in from Hedrick. The lefty-lefty matchup. He's 1 for 3, 2-run double in the third, and a run scored tonight. And it's an 0-1 count. Right now, Boone is certainly leaning on the lefty-lefty matchup here between Hedrick and Kurtz. McNeil leads off first. Here's the pitch. Slider down and away, well out of the zone. And the count is 1-1. That's the 20th pitch on the night so far in this appearance for Hedrick. Hedrick looks in for the sign from Austin Wells. The 1-1 pitch. Strike, four-seam fastball out and over the plate, about knee-high, 94 miles per hour. And the count is now 1-2 to Kurtz. Hedrick looks in, comes set above the belt. And the lefty deals. Swinging strike 3 right over the top of that sinker, swung Kurtz, and that'll be the second out of the inning. So, despite the lead-off runner, Hedrick has gone and struck out the last 2 batters, and now Fernando Cruz, the right-hander, is coming into the game. So, a pretty steady outing for Brent Hedrick. Definitely deserves his paycheck today. And we're going to the bend. Here comes Fernando Cruz. 3-1 Athletics here in the top of the 7th, 2 outs. This is Bombers Game Mike. Yeah, these are the big outs that you got to get here if you're going to come back in this game. The Yankees certainly do not want to drop this first of 3 here against the A's. Of course, they come back tomorrow night for the 7:05 start at the stadium. And then on Thursday, it is a businessman special. A 1:35 first pitch at the stadium. That'll be fun. I believe tomorrow, who do they have going tomorrow? I believe they have Ryan Weathers on Thursday. And why am I blanking on who's going tomorrow? It'll come to me. Oh, how can I forget? Will Warren. Will Warren, who got the assignment for the home opener, pitched very well, in fact. Very effective. He's going to be going up against that old Yankee phenom, one we all remember so well, Luis Severino, who signed, I believe, a 3-year deal. Now, here's Fernando Cruz against Langoliers. The pitch. Fly ball out to left center field. Coming in is Bellinger. He called for it, and that'll be the 3rd and final out of the inning. So Fernando Cruz comes in. He gets 1 pitch to finish it out. We go to the 7th inning stretch, and God bless America at the stadium. And, of course, we use baseball as a distraction. It's recreation. It's our escape. But if there's someone you know, someone you care about, a friend, a loved one, a family member who is serving in the armed forces overseas in a very difficult time right now, who might be in harm's way, by all means, keep them in your thoughts for Yankee Stadium's God Bless America. And the Yankees, of course, are highlighting their veteran of the game for this particular outing tonight. Looks like a U.S. Army veteran, if I'm reading this correctly. Yes. Anthony William Murray, U.S. Army Reserve, a first sergeant. Served during Operation Enduring Freedom. God bless America, folks. All right. So, a little bit of story time now that we're doing Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Every once in a while, maybe once a year, or, whenever I need something that I like to listen to go to sleep, I'll occasionally put on the classic documentary, multi-volume, Ken Burns Baseball. And I was watching one of the earlier iterations of one of the early episodes, and they were talking about the guy who actually wrote Take Me Out to the Ball Game. And he hadn't been to a baseball game yet, and he was, I believe, on a subway up to the Polo Grounds, I think was with the idea that he was going to see one. And he actually wrote the lyrics to that before ever actually seeing a baseball game, before a single out of watching baseball. And initially, it wasn't that popular until it started getting played in Nickelodeons across the country, where they would encourage the viewer to sing along, and then over time it just kind of, what we would say today, then went viral. And believe me, there are plenty of people in this world that study a whole lot to learn how to get virality that's quite as on the nose and as successful as friggin' Take Me Out to the Ball Game. 3-6-1 for the A's so far. 1-3-1 for the Yankees here going into the bottom of the seventh inning. Cam Schlittler, 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 runs, all earned, no walks, 7 strikeouts. And the Yankees' only run is the solo job by Ahmed Rosario in for Ryan McMahon tonight. Back in the second, time is called by the home plate umpire. Sterner, the right-hander, is still in the game for the A's. 3-1 A's here in the bottom of the seventh. Yeah, some tool threw a ball out there into the field to interrupt play. Yeah, that's great. That's exactly what we all love to see, right? Sterner gets back on the rubber. He looks in. Comes set. And the first pitch to Austin Wells. Ball down and in. The count is 1-0. Austin Wells, he's 0 for 1 tonight with a walk back in the second. Bet 160 on the air, 400 OPS. Not great. Here's the pitch. Foul down the third base side. And out of play. The count is 1-1. And I will tell you this. The more you call these games, Leiter Jr., the right-hander, is up in the pen for the A's, who will probably come in relief here at some point. Now the 1-1 pitch, fouled down the first base side and out of play, and the count is 1-2 to Austin Wells. Sterner comes set. Time is granted by the home plate umpire to Austin Wells. Langeliers dusts off home plate. Stepping back in is Austin Wells. Looking in is Sterner. He comes set above the belt, the 1-2 pitch. Sweeper outside, well outside the zone. Count is, well, should be 2-2, I thought. Let's find out. Not according to yes. Here's the pitch. Fouled out. Yeah, I was right. It was 2-2. The longer you call these games here, folks, the more and more you see how much yes actually screws up their score bug. And they're the ones who are really supposed to be the count for all of us. Sterner comes, set above the belt. The pitch. Check swing, checks down the third base umpire. No swing, says Blue down the third base line. And the count is full to Austin Wells. 18 pitches so far for Sterner in this appearance. Sterner comes, set. And the 3-2 to Wells. Hit up, and it absolutely splits the outfielders in right center field. Coming into second is Austin Wells, and he has himself a stand-up double here in the top of the seventh inning leading off. So the Yankees have a lead-off double by Austin Wells. And here comes the 9-hitter, Jose Caballero. And he just put that center on that one. Austin Wells was all over it. He split the center fielder and right fielder. Nobody was close to it. Now, here's Jose Caballero. He's 1 for 2. He doubled back in the fifth. Sterner comes set, and he deals. Grounded to the left side, fielded by the third baseman, throws to first on a hop in time. Austin Wells is staying right there at second, so 1 pitch, 1 out to Jose Caballero. The Yankees now have a runner on second, 1 out here in the bottom of the seventh inning. That was a very nice play there by the third baseman. Less so of a throw considering the very minimal distance he had to put there, but one hell of a pick. Oh, yeah. A very nice pick there at first. Here's the pitch. Strike. Down and in, a cutter at the knees to the left-handed hitting Trent Grisham, who's 0 for 3, ground out, fly out, pop out tonight. And the Yankees sure could use a 1-out hit here by Trent Grisham. Try to get back in this game. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Ground ball to the right side and foul. The count is 0-2 to Trent Grisham. And Trent Grisham, I have to imagine, is not trying not to press here. Aaron Judge is on deck. He's 0 for 1 tonight. Grisham steps back into the box. Austin Wells is down at second. There's 1 out here in the bottom of the seventh inning. 3-1 A's. And the pitch. Four-seam fastball up and away to the left-handed hitting Grisham. And the count is now 1-2. So 3-1 A's here in the bottom of the seventh inning. There's 1 out here with a runner on second. The lead-off double by Austin Wells. Counts 1-2 to Trent Grisham. Sterner comes set. And the 1-2 pitch. Down and away sweeper well out of the zone to Grisham. And the count is now even at 2-2. Leading off second is Austin Wells. Sterner looks in for the sign. The right-hander comes set above the belt. Here's the pitch. It's a fly ball down the right field line, curving and away from the pole, and it is foul. About 3 or 4 rows deep down the right field line, and the count remains 2-2. With 1 out here in the bottom of the seventh inning. Trent Grisham 0 for 3, 25 pitches so far for Sterner in his appearance here tonight. Sterner comes set above the belt. Here's the pitch. Ground ball up the middle, fielded by the second baseman, throws to first in time for the 2nd out of the inning. Moving over to third is Austin Wells on the ground out, and that'll bring up the Yankee captain, Aaron Judge. And are they going to the pen here? We have a conference out on the mound, certainly. And there was a righty up in the A's pen. And yes is most definitely Hawk in the 2026 New York Yankees official yearbook. I feel like it's a little early for the yearbook for me personally, but That's just me. Okay. Sterner's going to stay on out there. 26 pitches. Aaron Judge, 0 for 1, reached on the catcher's interference earlier and a walk. Austin Wells is down at third with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th inning. 3-1 A's. Sterner comes set. And the first pitch to Judge. Swinging strike over a sweeper, down and away. Missed it by easily 2 or 3 inches. Swung right over the top of that thing. That was a nasty sweeper. Yeah. That was extended well beyond Aaron Judge's prodigious bat reach. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Grounded to the left side, fielded by the third baseman on one hop. Throws to first in time. The first baseman keeps the foot on the bag, and that will do it. So the Yankees strand a lead-off double in the bottom of the 7th. It's 3-1 A's going to the top of the 8th inning. 3-1 A's. I'm Paul D, and this is Bombers Game Mic. Getting late here early, folks. Been a quick game. It's been a quick game. At least I think it has been. It was a 6:05 start my time. 7:05. Actually, no, it's been a slightly longer game. A lot of Major League games now are going 2.5 hours. And at the rate we're going, this one will potentially be 3. So, hey, I know pace of game is important. But if you're a serious baseball fan and you love having it on every night, yeah, I get it, right? You play like a minimum of 6 days in a given week, most weeks of the regular season, but I don't consider that to be some sort of great burden, especially when you have a team like the Yankees. I'll tell you this. When you're capping up at this time of night, at the very, very least, you got to stay hydrated. And no, that is definitely not vodka. The Yankees are 7-2 on the year. That's not hard. That's not hard alcohol in early April type record. All right, so we're heading here to the top of the 8th inning. Fernando Cruz is currently the pitcher of record, and he's still in the game. He only threw 1 pitch in relief. Here's the first pitch. Check swing. Did he go? No, says Blue down the third base line on the appeal. The count is 1-0 to Tyler Soderstrom. 2 for 3, double, single, RBI, and a stolen base tonight. The left fielder's been busy. Now the pitch. Hit down the right field line and foul. It had the length, but it definitely didn't have the direction. Clear foul. And the count is 1-1 to Soderstrom from Fernando Cruz. The right-hander comes set, and the 1-1. Ground ball up the middle, played by Caballero. Field fires, got him by a step. So Fernando Cruz has been making quick work here towards his first 2 batters, one that ended the top of the 7th, and now for the first out here. Now coming up is the DH, Rooker. Here's the pitch. Splitter down and in for a ball and out of the zone to the right-handed Rooker, who's 0 for 3 tonight. Cruz comes set. The pitch. Down and away. Four-seam fastball out of the zone. 93 miles per hour according to Yes. Count is 2-0. 1 out here in the top of the 8th inning. 3-1 A's. And here's the pitch. Slider down and away, well out of the zone to the right-hander, and the count is now 3-0. So Cruz has not found the strike zone yet in this particular at-bat. Here's the 3-0 pitch. Strike, four-seam fastball on the inside corner, 92 miles an hour, about knee-high, and the count is 3-1. Cruz comes set above the belt. And the 3-1 pitch. Strike, four-seam fastball on the inside corner, knee-high. It is being challenged by Rooker. Let's see what the ABS has to say. And it is a ball, so the call is overturned, and he will take first. So the A's have a one-out walk here in the top of the 8th inning. The A's still have both of their ABS challenges remaining. The Yankees only have one. Now here comes the right-hander Jacob Wilson, who's 0 for 3 tonight. Strikeout, groundout, flyout. Runner on first, one out. The first pitch from Cruz to Wilson. Fly ball to left center field. Underneath it is Bellinger. He pulls it in for the second out of the inning. So one pitch, one out. And that will bring up the left-handed hitter Butler, who is 0 for 2 tonight. He walked back in the 6th and stole a base, 185 on the year. Fernando Cruz comes set at the belt. And the first pitch to Butler. Breaking ball, a splitter strike, inside corner. And the count is 0-1 to Butler. 11 pitches so far for Cruz. Runner on first, 2 outs here. 3-1 A's here in the top of the 8th inning. It's an 0-1 count. Here's the pitch. Down and away, a splitter well out of the zone to the left-hander. The count is 1-1. Cruz looks on in for the side. He comes set. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Goes down to second, throws, not nearly in time. Stolen base there for the A's. And they've had quite a bit of success running on Austin Wells tonight. It was a pretty decent pitch to throw on. The A's are challenging the call strike, and it is upheld, so the call is confirmed. The count is 1-2. The A's have one challenge remaining left in regulation, as do the Yankees, so Rooker is down on second with the stolen base. Runner on second, 2 out here. It's a 1-2 count. Top of the 8th inning, 3-1 A's. And the 1-2 pitch from Cruz. Down and in, a splitter and in the dirt, saved by Austin Wells, and the count is now even at 2-2. The S graphic is showing Bruce Dreckerman, the home plate umpire, to be a reasonably hitter-friendly umpire. Now, Cruz looks in for the sign from Wells. Rooker leads off second. Cruz comes set. The 2-2 pitch. Fastball well up and away out of the zone. And the count is full, 3-2 to Butler. So, Cruz most certainly wants to get out of this one here, and who could possibly blame him? The Yankees certainly need every chance to come back. Here's the pitch. Ball 4, splitter down and in, nowhere close to the zone. And that puts runners on first and second with 2 outs here in the top of the 8th inning, 3-1 A's. And here comes Max Muncy, who is 1 for 3 here this evening. Time is called by the home plate umpire, and there is going to be a conference out on the mound. Here comes the pitching coach. So I haven't seen anybody up in the pen yet for the Yankees. Doesn't mean he isn't out there. Basically calming Cruz down a little bit. Yep, definitely up. Winquist is up in the pen, the right-hander. I have not seen him throw so far this year in the regular season campaign, but he is getting loose fast, so this particular conference out there was to give him a little bit more time. So runners on first and second, 2 out here in the top of the 8th inning, 3-1 A's. The Yankees are looking to get out of this one to have some kind of chance to come on back here in this game. Cruz, the right-hander, comes set. Deals to the righty, Muncy. Strike, slider, inside corner. And the count is 0-1. That one was about knee-high to Max Muncy. Fernando Cruz comes set above the belt. And the 0-1 pitch in the dirt, gets away slightly from Austin Wells, keeps in front of him. The runners stay put at both first and second. So it's a 1-1 count to Max Muncy. 3-1 A's here in the top of the 8th inning with 2 outs. And that was a splitter that, well, luckily Austin Wells knew how to keep it there right in front of him. Cruz comes set. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swinging strike, slider, swung right on over the top of that one. And the count is now 1-2. 19 pitches so far for Cruz in this outing. He's 1 strike away from trying to get out of this thing. He comes set. And here's the 1-2 pitch. Swinging strike 3, and that will do it. So he gets out of a jam, does Fernando Cruz. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. 3-1 A's at the stadium. I'm Paul D, and this is Bombers Game Mic. Yeah. So the bullpen work has been pretty steady so far here for the Yankees. No question there. But now's that big time where the middle of the order kind of has to come through. Because they got 6 outs left to work with. And they are down 2 runs at the moment. So we shall see. We shall see where this one goes. Yeah. Even watching MLB.TV, you're still going to get yourself plenty of pharmaceutical ads. Life in America, folks. Life in America. So, middle of the order should be due up here for the Yankees, going here into the bottom of the 8th inning. Bellinger, Rice, and Stanton. That's pretty much who you'd be asking for at this point, right? Yeah. Even people calling the game got to stretch and crack their backs every once in a while, despite sitting on ass for about 3 hours. Oh, the Gotham Sports app. I'm sure I'm missing a ton with that thing. Not heard great things about it. Andy Ibanez is down at third. He's in for Max Muncy. Mark Leiter Jr. is in the game. 2-4-5 through 4 games, 3 2/3 innings pitch, a walk and a strikeout. There's the first pitch to Bellinger. And it is low, a curveball out of the zone to the Yankee left-hander. The count is 1-0. The righty Leiter Jr. looks in for the sign. He comes set at the belt. Time is granted by the home plate umpire to Cody Bellinger, who is 0 for 3 tonight. Leiter Jr. comes set at the belt. And the 1-0 pitch. Low, a sinker out of the zone, but over the plate all the same. The count is now 2-0 to the Yankee left fielder. Leiter Jr. comes set. Here's the pitch. Ground ball up the middle and through for a base hit. So the Yankees have a lead-off single on the bat and power of Cody Bellinger. In fact, that was a line drive. Went straight into the shallow outfield there. Clear past everybody between the shortstop and second baseman. Clear to the right field side of second. And the Yankees have the leadoff man on here. Here comes Ben Rice. He represents the tying run here for the Yankees in the bottom of the 8th inning. Here's the first pitch to Rice. Ground ball foul down the first base side and out of play. Just tapped that thing, he did. And the count is 0-1. So the Yankees have a runner on first and nobody out here in the bottom of the 8th inning. It's an 0-1 count to Ben Rice. Nobody out here. Mark Leiter Jr. comes set. The pitch. Ball splitter down in the dirt over the plate, but not high enough. And the count is 1-1. And the core of the Yankee leadership is sitting atop the top step of the Yankee dugout. Leiter Jr. comes set at the belt. Here's the 1-1 to Rice. Flared out to right center field and in for a base hit. Going to third is Bellinger. So now the Yankees have runners on first and third and nobody out here on the power of the bloop single to shallow right field by Ben Rice. And the Yankees finally have something cooking here in the bottom of the 8th inning. And here comes their professional DH, the big right-hander himself, Giancarlo Stanton. So this is a big inflection point in the game here so far, folks. And Bellinger read that perfectly off the bat of Rice, and he was gone. He was into third, standing up on that one. And right now, Ben Rice is looking pretty dialed in, especially when the stakes are high. Both the right-hander Winquist is up and Hill is up, the left-hander in the Yankee bullpen for the top of the 9th inning. Giancarlo, he's 0 for 3 tonight with a couple of strikeouts. But I think it's fair to say Stanton at this point, tonight at least, is due. Leiter Jr. gets back on the bump, has the sign. And the first pitch of Stanton, fouled back right behind the plate. Just kind of an almost check swing foul ball. Well, it wasn't quite a check swing. It was a full swing, but it was an swing, to say the least. Count is 0-1. So runners on first and third, nobody out here. An 0-1 count to Stanton. Here's the pitch. Inside sinker, nowhere close to the zone. And the count is 1-1. Stanton, of course, is in there with his very closed swing. Very much like he is all for going the other way power-wise with a stance that close. Here's the 1-1 to Stanton. Hit down and past a diving shortstop. Here comes a run. Bellinger will score. And it is now a 3-2 Athletics lead. So the Yankees have runners on first and second, nobody out. Ben Rice is down at second, Giancarlo Stanton at first, and that he hit it right on the screws, and it just absolutely sliced away, glove slide to the shortstop there. And now we're going to see a pinch runner for Giancarlo Stanton, which is most definitely the thing to do there. Randall Grichuk is on first base now. He's going to run for Stanton. So runners on first and second, nobody out here in the bottom of the 8th inning. And here comes Jazz Chisholm Jr., 1 for 3 tonight with a single back in the 6th. 3-2 A's here, bottom 8. Runners on first and second, nobody out. The pitch. Strike, curveball, outside corner, knee high to Jazz Chisholm, and the count is 0-1. And it appears as if there's a challenge on this. Indeed, there is. And the call is upheld. So the Yankees lose their last ABS in regulation. The call is confirmed, and the count is 0-1 to Jazz Chisholm. I'm actually kind of surprised he challenged that. But you know what? That's his call. So here's the 0-1. Down and in, skipping rope is Jazz Chisholm. Nearly hit him. And the count is 1-1. Yeah, he got just out of the way of that thing. Had he not moved, it probably would have clipped one of his toes, which just sounds awful. Runners on first and second. Nobody out. 1-1 count to Chisholm. 3-2 A's. Bottom of the eighth. The pitch. Grounded foul down the first base side and out of play. And the count is now 1-2 to Jazz. Kuhnel, the right-handed pitcher, is up in the pen for the A's. In case they get to that point, they feel they need him. Jazz 1 for 3 on the night. 12 pitches so far for Leiter Jr. Here's the 1-2 to Jazz. Four-seam fastball well up and out of the zone. Nowhere close. And the count is now 2-2. Randall Grichuk at first, the pinch runner for Giancarlo Stanton. Ben Rice is down there at second. Jazz Chisholm is back in the box. Leiter Jr. comes set at the belt. Here's the 2-2. Well outside the splitter. Nowhere close to the zone. Over the right-handed hitting batter's box. And the count is now full to Jazz. 3-2. Ahmed Rosario, he's on deck. He had a solo home run earlier. That counts for one of the 2 Yankee runs so far here tonight. So, full count to Jazz Chisholm. Runners on first and second. Nobody out. Bottom of the eighth. Time is called by Jazz Chisholm and granted by the home plate umpire. And the tension builds further. 14 pitches so far this outing for Leiter Jr. Admittedly, not one of his better outings so far. Leiter Jr. looks in for the sign. He comes set at the belt. The 3-2. Fly ball to center field. Coming in is the center fielder, and he makes the catch. And the runners are going to stay exactly where they are on that. That will be the first out of the inning. And Jazz just kind of tripped coming out of the box there, and he's a little hobbled at the moment. You look here on the replay as he goes running out. It looks like he might have twisted his back ankle slightly. He certainly didn't get much on the hit. Yeah, his right ankle there, it looks like he twisted it slightly, so we'll see what happens for him going out in the top of the ninth inning. But he's definitely hobbled there at the moment, walking back to the dugout. So runners on first and second, 1 out here. 3-2 A's in the bottom of the eighth inning. Ahmed Rosario is coming up to the plate for the Yankees. Randall Grichuk is the pinch runner over at first for Giancarlo Stanton. Ben Rice is sitting out there at second. We will see, folks. We will see. Here comes the Yankee third baseman tonight. Yes, is showing his solo job from back in the second inning, which is one of the 2 Yankee runs here tonight. I think they would take that again, but we shall see. Rosario digs in, 1 for 3. 222 on the air, 2 hits and 9 at-bats, a home run, 2 RBIs. Leiter comes set at the belt, and the first pitch, Rosario, swinging strike, swings right through a sinker, up and away. He certainly missed location-wise, but he's not going to take it back. The count is 0-1 to Ahmed Rosario here in the bottom of the eighth inning. 3-2 A's. The Yankees are threatening. Here in the bottom of the eighth, Leiter comes set. The 0-1. Fly ball to left field. That ball is out of here into the second deck in left field. The second home run tonight for Ahmed Rosario. And the Yankees take a 5-3 lead. Oh my goodness, I believe it's a 5-3 lead. Yeah, 3-run home run on that baby. 5-3 Yankees here in the bottom of the eighth inning. The second home run tonight by Ahmed Rosario. The first one just gets around the pole back in the second, the solo job. This 3-run shot here goes into the second deck, easily another 50 feet further than the 399 shot back in the second. Now, here's Austin Wells, the first pitch. Ball in the dirt. And the Yankees still only have one out here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Is David Bednar getting up in the Yankee pen? You'd have to imagine that is some absolutely clutch hitting. Here's the pitch. Strike, splitter outside corner to the left hand and hitting Austin Wells 1 for 2 with a walk and a double tonight. So 5-3 Yankees here on the 3-run job by Ahmed Rosario. Here's the pitch. In the dirt, a splitter, nowhere close, and the count is now 2-1 to the Yankee catcher. Before that, Giancarlo Stanton had the RBI single that scored Cody Bellinger. Come set is Leiter Jr. Here's the pitch. Fastball sinker up and away, nowhere near the zone, and the count is 3-1 to Austin Wells. So, talk about a big comeback here late by the Yankees. Here's the pitch. Ground ball to the right side, fielded by the second baseman, throws to first in time for the second out of the inning. But yeah, this second one was an absolute no-doubter by Ahmed Rosario. He was talking all sorts of stuff the second he hit that thing. He knew it was gone, and it was gone by an absolute mile. Man, that is about as much celebration and pumping yourself up as you're going to get on a pitch like that. Strike, fastball down and away, four-seam fastball to Caballero. The count is 0-1 to the Yankee shortstop. That thing was middle in, an absolute spinner. Here's the pitch. Giving bunt is Caballero. He pulls back. Pitch is well out of the zone. Count is 1-1 to Jose Caballero. Man, he basically gave a whole monologue about a third of the way to first base on that home run shot. Here's the pitch. Swinging strike over a sinker down and away does Caballero. And it's 1-2 to the Yankees right-handed hitting shortstop. So 5-3 Yankees here, bottom of the 8th inning, 2 out. It's a 1-2 count to Jose Caballero. Here's the pitch. Grounded down the third base side and out of play. And the Yankees here have put up a 4 spot. Couldn't ask to be more clutch than that in the bottom of the 8th inning, given how things have gone here so far offensively tonight for the Yankees. They are showing some late lightning with that bat. Really absolutely clutch stuff on the part of Ahmed Rosario. Here's the pitch. Fouled back behind the plate and out of play. The count remains 1-2 to Caballero. That was the 27th pitch of the outing so far for Leiter Jr., who at this point would rather forget this one, and who the hell could blame him for that? So Caballero steps back into the box. In the hole is Aaron Judge. Here's the pitch. Hit to the left side, fielded by the third baseman, keeps it in front of him, throws to first, offline. And there is a 2-out runner here on the part of Jose Caballero. That should be an error. It was booted by Ibanez there at third. That is a hop he should absolutely make. And then the offline throw on top of it. So I'm calling that one an error, and E5 to be sure. That is a play a third baseman absolutely needs to make in this league. And Leiter Jr., after 28 pitches, is being run from this game. So here comes Trent Grisham, and Oakland is going to the right-hander, Cunell, who has been warming up for the better part of most of this inning at this point. So he's coming in looking to limit the damage. The Yankees are seeing if they can't tack anything on here in the bottom of the 8th inning. I haven't seen what the bullpen action is for them at this point, though I have to admit I'd very much like to know. So 5-3 Yankees after putting up a huge 4 spot here in the bottom of the 8th inning. The A's are going to the bullpen. Mark Leiter Jr. not having a great show of it. He shouldn't be responsible for the runner at first because that should absolutely be an E5. If not on the actual fielding, then definitely on the throw. Luckily, he did not advance in the case of Caballero. So Trent Grisham is coming in here following the pitching change. Runner on first, 2 out here in the bottom of the 8th inning. The Yankees have come all the way back in this one. And you have to give credit. As much as the Yankee bullpen largely stunk it up on what ended up being Sunday night for Max Fried, they've come through here. Cam Schlittler handed them a 3-1 game at the top of the 6th inning, and they have kept the Athletics right there. So, in is Joel Kuhnel, 3.53 ERA in 50 games last year. 2 of them starts, 63 and 2/3 innings pitched, 11 walks, 56 strikeouts in that time, and a 263 opponent average in that time. Here is the Yankee center fielder, the left-handed hitting Trent Grisham. Kuhnel, the righty, comes set at the belt, throws over to first, just gets back, does Caballero. Very close there on the near pick. Trent Grisham is 0 for 4 tonight. Yeah, that was a very close play over there at first. So, probably going to slow his roll there. 0 for 4 Trent Grisham is tonight. He's in the box. Kuhnel comes set at the belt and the pitch. Low sinker down and in the zone. The count is 1-0 to Trent Grisham. Couple of groundouts, a fly out, and a pop out tonight for the Yankee center fielder, who digs back into the box. Kuhnel comes set, and the big righty deals. Cutter inside, down and in. Misses the zone by several inches at least, and the count is now 2-0. David Bednar is up in the pen. He's going to be there for the 9th for the Yankees, trying to nail this one down. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Strike, going, sweeping second. Safe is Jose Caballero. He steals second. The throw was fairly close, and it looks like they want to potentially give a look at that thing. The play is now under review. The catcher got it there on one hop. Caballero, that is very close. I got to see another angle on that. I haven't seen anything quite definitive yet. Depends on when his hand got in and when he managed to get the tag on his rear end. I think he might be safe. It's a close one, but let's see. This will tell us. That's about as close to a tie as you're going to get. It's hard to get a good definitive angle on the thing. It has to do with where he was tagged. I think he's safe, but let's find out. We await the call on the attempted steal by Caballero. The initial call is safe. The A's are looking for it to be reviewed, and it is under review. And we are standing by for the review. And yes, just keeps going back to the same angle, but it's not a really definitive angle, the one they keep giving us, that's basically from the first base side out towards second on his back end there. Clearly, the replay booth is giving this thing a long, hard look. Everybody is waiting on the big scoreboard to find out exactly what the call is. Caballero obviously wants to find out. What's the call, Blue? What's the call? It's currently a 2-1 count here for Trent Grisham. And the call is upheld. The runner is safe down at second. So the A's lose the review challenge. So runner on second, 2 out here is a 2-1 count to the left-handed hitting Trent Grisham. The Yankees are looking to tack on here in the bottom of the 8th inning after putting up a huge 4 spot down most of the game until this point. Now, Kuhnel comes set. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Changeup down and away, well out of the zone. And the count is now 3-1 to Trent Grisham. 0 for 4 on the night. Grisham comes set in the box. Coming set on the mound is Cunell. And here's the 3-1 pitch. Ground ball to the right side, right to the second baseman. He fields, throws to first in time, and that will do it. So the Yankees put up a huge 4-spot, mostly on the power of a huge 3-run bomb on the part of Ahmed Rosario, his second of the night. We go to the top of the ninth inning. Here comes the Yankee closer, David Bednar. He's going to try and close it out. I'm Paul DiCostanzo. This is Yankee Baseball, and you are watching Bombers Game Mike. Oh, boy. This Yankee team, they show those bats late. I mean, they can pummel you at any time of the game, but they have shown an early propensity for coming back, which over many years of watching baseball, as I'm sure you have watched many years of baseball, that is a quality that you want in a team, especially from early on, just setting the character of a team where there is this inbuilt belief that no matter the situation, no matter the inning, no matter the score, that you have this ability, this confidence that you can come back and really do something special. Any game, regardless. Those have been the best Yankee teams of all time. Those are the ones that showed the most potential. That and, of course, the ones that stay healthy, pitch well, and all that important stuff. But so far in the early season, the Yankees have definitely shown themselves to have a propensity to hang around in games and get runs late when they need them. And man, Ahmed Rosario is living up that second home run of the night. I mean, you get why he's pumped. And I'm a bit old school at that. You know, I'm all about just putting the head down, running the bases. But you know what? I'm not as young as I used to be. And chances are, neither are you. Very least if you share that opinion. So here's the Yankee closer, David Bednar. 73 pitches in his last 2 appearances. So he's been used quite a bit. Here's the first pitch. That is a four-seam fastball up and in to McNeil, and the count is 1-0. Ryan McMahon is in for defense for Ahmed Rosario down at third. Bednar comes set at the chest. The 1-0. Curveball down and out of the zone to the lefty McNeil, and the count is now 2-0. So Bednar has not found the strike zone yet in these first couple of pitches. Sooner the better, guys. Now the 2-0 pitch from Bednar. He deals. Strike, four-seam fastball inside corner, 95 miles per hour. Clocking is yes. Jeff McNeil 2 for 2 with a couple of singles, a walk and a run scored tonight for the A's third baseman. Bednar comes set. The 2-1 pitch. Splitter down and in, nowhere near the zone. And the count is now 3-1 to McNeil. Last thing you want in this situation is a leadoff walk. My God. Nobody needs that. Now the 3-1. Strike, four-seam fastball right down Broadway, 94 mile per hour four-seamer. And the count is now full 3-2 to McNeil, who has not yet taken the bat off his shoulders so far in this at-bat. Bednar comes set. The 3-2. Flared up behind the plate, giving chase is Austin Wells. Slides, is not able to make the catch in front of the A's dugout, and will do it all again. That was just kind of an, in and out swing, just out of the reach of Austin Wells. Gave it the old college try, though. I'll give him that. Now, Bednar is back onto the bump. McNeil back into the box. Playing back is the Yankee infield. Bednar looks in. Comes set at the chest. And the 3-2. Foul down the third base side, out of play. 95-mile-per-hour four-seam fastball from Bednar up and into the lefty McNeil, and the count remains 3-2. Cam Schlittler just walking back and forth. He does not take to the dugout easily during his starts. Here's the 3-2. Strike three, swung right on through the four-seam fastball, up and in, 95 miles per hour, and that'll be the first out of the inning here in the top of the ninth. A strikeout from David Bednar. Now here comes the ninth hitter, Cortez. He's 0 for 2 tonight. The Yankees are 2 outs away here in the top of the ninth inning. Carlos Cortez, he's pinch hitting. Through 5 games, has a .500 average, 4 hits and 8 at-bats, no home runs, 2 RBIs. 5-3 Yankees here, top of the ninth, 1 out. David Bednar comes set to Cortez. Here's the first pitch. Curveball strike, outside corner at the knees, and the count is 0-1. The Yankee faithful is on their feet. The team is at the top step of the dugout. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Curveball outside, missed by 3 or 4 inches to the lefty Cortez, and the count is now 1-1. David Bednar comes set at the chest. Here's the 1-1. Fly ball to right field. Coming in is Judge. He calls for it. He makes the catch for the second out of the inning. So the Yankees are now 1 out away here in the top of the ninth inning. And here comes the leadoff hitter, Kurtz, who is 1 for 4 tonight. I believe he has a double and an RBI. Or a couple RBIs at least, I think. So the Yankees are 1 out away. Comes set, Bednar at the chest, and the first pitch to Kurtz. Fastball up and in and out of the zone to the lefty Kurtz. 2-run double back in the third and a run scored. It's a 1-0 count here in the top of the ninth. 5-3 Yankees. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Curveball strike, outside corner, knee high to the lefty Kurtz, and the count is now 1-1. Bednar comes set at the chest. And the righty deals. Fly ball to right field. Calling for it is Aaron Judge. He's underneath it. And that will do it. The Yankees win 5-3 here in the series opener against the A's. 4 of those 5 RBIs coming off the big bat of Ahmed Rosario here tonight. And the Yankees secure the 5-3 lead. So David Bednar with the save. The Yankees with the big comeback victory here in the first of 3 in the ballpark against the A's. They'll be back tomorrow night for a 7:05 Eastern start at the stadium. Will Warren is going for the Yankees. Be sure to join us back here for first pitch, 7:05 Eastern here on Bombers Game Mic. I'm Paul DiCostanzo. This is Yankee Baseball. 5-3 Yankees here in this first of 3 in the Bronx. And this has been Bombers Game Mic. Bombers Game Mic